You're listening to the Death Rattle Crew, a Hearthstone podcast.
DRC, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Death Rattle Crew, a Hearthstone podcast. This is episode 43, and we're normally an audio-only podcast, but this week we are live on Twitch as well, and we're going to be from this point on 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Wednesdays. But you can still find us at www.deathrattlecrew.com. I'm one of your hosts, Mike Tack2Hearn, joined by the legend formerly known as Jeremy. Hello, sir.
It is me. How is it?
It's fantastic.
How is everyone?
Good.
Everyone doing good?
And Bradford Lee.
Hey, how's it going?
And don't forget, you can find Bradford Lee
in living color.
Yeah. Where can people find your stream?
Twitch.tv/Bradford Lee. And we're also hosting this through my channel right
Perfect.
now.
Perfect. Yeah. So yeah, if you want another, I guess, group of folks, a community is the correct word. Definitely go check out Brad's stream. Mushu actually couldn't make it here today, but I did leave him a little love letter up there in the top right corner. I've got a little "Don't like Vegemite, you're un-Australian." I'm sure he'll get a little chuckle out of that. The rest of us Americans are like, "What the hell is all this about?" But so with that, Jeremy, let's just start with you. You did another tournament.
I did.
This week.
We had sort of fireside gathering. It was pretty small. I think they had like 10 people. No, it was probably closer to 8. I think there were 8 people. Anyway, so this one was it was billed as a little more serious. But it was pretty fun. It was double elimination, and I won my first 2 rounds, got paired against a local guy who I know from Magic, who's pretty good, and he destroyed me. He had Priest. It was just like, it wasn't Dragon Priest, it was just kind of Control Priest, and then he had Control Warrior and Handlock. And so the first game I queued in with Hunter because I figured, mid-range Hunter has a pretty good matchup against all of those. And I lost against Handlock, which is like my best matchup. I got him down to 1 at one point, couldn't finish him off, so I wound up dying. And then he proceeded to just beat the crap out of me for another 2 games in a row. But I wound up meeting up with him again in the finals. So I won my next 2 rounds, got back to play him in the finals, and he had not lost a game yet. So we played our first game, and I went 3-0, just won with everything relatively easily. But then it was already like 10:30 or 11 o'clock, and so he and I actually wound up splitting. And
really?
So yeah, so I was just tired. I was like, "Hey man, you want to split? So that we don't have to be here for another hour, and we can both get like a moderate amount of money." And he was like, yeah, that'd be cool. So,
nice. So what was the take home? Was it like a big deal? Or?
I think it was like $50 a piece. It wasn't that much.
Not bad. That's pretty good.
Yeah, it's pretty good for like a Hearthstone tournament.
Yeah. Where was it?
It's at this place called The Hive in Tuscaloosa. So it's like an internet cafe that does like hourly rates and stuff like that, come in, play on their computers and stuff. This is a pretty cool group of guys. I know, like I said, I know a lot of them from Magic, from back when I used to play, but hadn't really played competitive Magic in a while, and these guys just kind of show up for Hearthstone stuff now too. So
got it. And we're going to talk about this a little bit later, a couple new decks and new ideas for existing decks, I guess. But did you see anything new, anything surprising?
No, I did see there were like 2 guys running Aggro Druid. That wouldn't have been the case like a month ago.
I've been seeing a lot of those on ladder.
So it was the full package, like the top out at Fell Reaver and Force of Nature, Savage Roar. So there really wasn't. I was hoping this would be the case, but there wasn't a lot of aggro. I saw a couple of face hunters and like a aggro druid. It was a lot more control, so that's why I brought like mid-range decks, because I figured that kind of give me an advantage. So I brought mid-range I bought Secret Pally, the top end Secret Pally that only has like 6 secrets in the deck total. I brought Zoo, which this has surprised me a lot. We can come back to this later sometime if we want, but I don't know if you guys have played Zoo on ladder much, but it's not that good. I'm not very comfortable. I'm not very comfortable with Druid, so I brought Zoo, just like the mid-range Zoo that tries to get Malagos on the board for free. That's basic, or like giant Void Walkers or Void Terrors, whatever it's called.
Yeah.
That deck over the last 2 weeks in both tournaments hasn't dropped a single game.
Yeah.
So I don't know what the difference is between like playing on. I guess on ladder it's the least effective of the aggro decks, but like I played Warrior with it, and I basically just played it like I would play Handlock and just put out 2 or 3 threats at a time, and it can taunt up pretty easily. It's got 2 Defender of Argus, so it was really just, well, I'm going to present a board that you have to deal with, and then you're going to deal with it, and then I'm going to present another board that you have to deal with.
Right.
And eventually, like, I had him down to 17 health and just kind of went all in with a couple of power overwhelmings. So,
what's funny about that is I've been playing Zoo on ladder, but I haven't been playing that Malagos one that you've been talking about. I've been playing the very aggressive builds.
How's that doing?
Fantastic. I think my win percentage at its peak was at like 79% when I was just like trying to move up the ladder. And then when I got to like rank 3-ish, it started decreasing a little bit, and it wasn't dramatic though. It was still in like the 60s is my win percentage. So I feel like the deck was really was putting up good performances for the most part.
Okay.
Yeah, weirdly enough, I've been very happy with the deck on ladder right now.
Are you playing the 2-mana Discover guy?
Yeah, I am. And it's not because I think he's amazing, but it's just because it gives me more power overwhelmings, which are really good for the deck because, it just, the games where you're not trying to end the game right then, power overwhelming is great because it answers the board. And the games where you're trying to end the game immediately, it's great because it's a burst for you. So
and in the aggressive versions of it, I don't guess Soulfire's that bad either.
No, not too bad. I was running 2 Doomguard, not Doomsayer, Doomguard. Is that the
5 mana, the
5/7 that discards 2 cards? Yeah. And since I'm running 2 of those, there have been some weird circumstances where I'll get like a Soulfire and have 2 of those in hand, and it's just
it's so bad.
It's just awkward. It's been awkward sometimes.
I hate that.
Yeah. But what's really been good about Dark Peddler? This has been crazy. I didn't realize. I honestly still don't think Dark Peddler's amazing. It's good because it generates card advantage, and it's a solid turn 2 play. It's a solid turn 3 play because you get something in addition to it. But really where it's really shined for me the most was Dreadsail Courser, I believe is the name of the card. It's a 1/2 that has a battle cry ability of reduce your opponent's weapon for 1. Mm-hmm. And so there's been multiple times where it's been really good against a Deathspite, or it's been really good against a True Silver Champion.
So it reduces the durability?
Durability, sorry, yes.
Okay, so it basically destroys the weapon.
Yeah. Right. And it's a 1/2, so it doesn't die to the Deathspite trigger, so it still gives me a 1/1, which I can then use with a Power Overwhelming later, or I can put, like a Defender of Argus on it to make it into a 2/2. So it's been really good to find that. And it seems like every time I see it, I discount it at first because I see something else and I'm like, oh, this seems awesome. And then I look at all the other options and I'm like, wait a minute, I just take this because it's just literally insane here. And so that's really where I think the Dark Peddler has been so good. It's just because it gives me those options in the matchups where I wouldn't otherwise be able to play the card. So yeah, I've been a fan of it.
I've seen it a couple times, and I just feel like it didn't give my opponent, because I haven't played that version of it yet. It didn't give my opponent any tempo, and so that's what won me the game in a mirror matchup. I've been playing a lot of that on ladder, actually Zoolock, but mine's kind of it's still an older build. Were you guys running ones with like 1 Void Terrier, 1 Sea Giant, Dr. Boom, no Mal'Ganis?
That's kind of the build I'm running.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm running a single Bane of Doom.
I'm not doing that.
The one I saw one today. He was running 2 Banes of Dooms, and I think 2 of those peddlers. And
seems greedy.
Extremely. Well, I felt bad for him. Oh, he also played what was that imp? The 0 mana imp.
Blood imp.
Yeah, he played a blood imp, and maybe
or is that 1 mana?
Maybe it is 1 mana.
It's a 0/1 though, right?
Yeah,
The one
yeah. There you go. Yeah, it's 1 mana. And off of one of the Bane of Dooms, he pulled another blood imp. So it's kind of got greedy in it for it. I don't know. Like, do you feel like Dark Ped? It makes it a slower deck. I'm guessing, right?
Not necessarily.
Okay.
I think it makes it a little less resilient on turn 2 because you'd rather play like a Haunted Creeper and a Ruby and Egg. And that's why I think I like it more with a bunch of 1-drops, so I can go 1-drop into it so that I've at least answered their board. And even though my Dark Peddler may not be as good as their 3-drop, I'm going to be able to catch back up on the board turn 3. But I think it definitely gives it a little more attrition. It gives it a little bit more resources to play with, and so it helps out in like the Control Warrior matchup specifically. I really like it in. It's okay in like the more mid-rangey Paladin lists, but for the most part, it feels like it's the reason it's good in the deck is because it helps you in the matchups that you struggle a little bit in already. Like Control Warrior, for instance, can be sometimes a tough matchup. Not necessarily too much because you can just keep life tapping into cards if they don't have pressure on you. But against some of the Control Warrior matchups, it can be a little bit daunting if you have to keep life tapping each turn. And so sometimes getting a Dark Peddler into, I don't know, Power Overwhelming or a Soulfire for 4 extra damage is enough to finish off a game.
So what are you taking out to put this in? Or do you remember?
I do not remember.
Okay.
Not off the top of my head. I pretty much stuck with the really aggressive list. One of the cards that I cut at first was 1 Direwolf Alpha. And after playing a couple games, I decided I wanted the second Direwolf Alpha back because I'm playing 2 Doom Guards. If I went down to 1 Doom Guard, I would consider cutting another Direwolf Alpha. And the reasoning there is that at 7 mana, you can go Direwolf Alpha, and it gives +2 to multiple things. So it'll give +2/+2, or +1/+1 on each side of it, or +1 attack, I guess I should say. And so it'll allow you to hit for 2 extra damage there. Then you can place your Doom Guard directly next to the Direwolf Alpha after you've attacked with your other minions. So it gives another +1, which effectively gives you for 2 mana, 3 damage. So it becomes basically a like what a Dark Bomb would do to hit face. And so that really is it's not the hugest synergy, but it's enough synergy that it helps with those kind of with what you're trying to do with Doomguard in that deck, because it is your finisher. It's how you're going to burst down your opponent, because the deck is designed to trade board position back and forth and get it in its chip shots here and there until it's ready to get 10 or 15 damage to finish you off. And so because of that extra point of damage has actually won me multiple games, and I'm very happy with keeping another Direwolf Alpha in for that reason.
Okay. I'm only running one of those right now, but I'm wondering.
I've been a big fan of it.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I'm running in the mid-range version. The mid-range doesn't run a single Direwolf Alpha.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Huh. So it has like Void Caller in its place, correct?
Yeah, it has Void Caller with the hope of getting like a cheap Mal'Ganis out, basically.
Okay. Yeah, which is kind of like, instead of having the Doom Guard plus Direwolf kind of combo there, you've got, like a solid 4 body that gives you potentially a insane 9-drop out for free.
So. Right.
I see. I gotcha. Okay. All right. Well, we kept not totally off topic, but Bradford, how's your week been? What have you been up to?
Oh, pretty good. It's I've been up to not too much. I just did actually the Happy Hearthstone podcast yesterday.
Nice.
Thank you, Josh, for having me on. Totally appreciate it.
Oh, sweet. Those guys are awesome.
They really are.
Nice.
We did a deck battle. I played Mill Rogue. He was actually on a more mid-range Demon Zoo tile build, and he steamrolled me. So yeah, I got destroyed. Just got ran over.
Imagine that Mill Rogue's bad.
It wasn't too bad. I never drew a Cold Light Oracle in the first game, and then I finally drew a Cold Light Oracle the turn where I was just like, well, if I don't draw a Cold Light Oracle, I'm dead, and I drew it. I was like, okay, there might be a chance. but I had made a slight miscue in that game by wasting my brand Bronzebeard earlier in the game. Where had I saved it for that time, I think I would have milled him for like 16 that turn and just taken points. So
Wow.
So it was actually a lot closer in game 2 than you would believe, but I put the wrong puzzle piece into place and on a turn where I shouldn't have wasted my brand Bronzebeard. I should have used something else to trigger a combo off of Viscerate is why I had used the brand Bronzebeard. But it's okay. So, but Mill Rogue was so much fun to play. I had a blast. Yeah, and thanks again, Josh, for having us on. It was fun.
Yeah, if you haven't checked them out, definitely go check them out.
Yeah, they're great.
Let's see. News here. A special guest will be coming very soon. A blast from the past. His name might start with an A, end with a Vuri. Is supposed to be coming on the show sometime soon, so look forward to that.
Unless he's shirtless, he's not allowed on.
Yeah, I didn't bring that up yet. Probably should.
Video?
Yeah. He's not going to do it. I have a feeling he's a very private person. He doesn't want to share his body with the world. I'm more open to do that, but I don't know about him. So yeah,
cool, I'm excited to have Avery on.
Yeah. So he told me he was going to try to make it today. Obviously, he's not here, so he didn't make it. But he did tell me he's going to try to make it maybe next week or the week after. But we'll get him sometime in the future. I know he's busy. He's at law school right now.
Yeah,
busy boy. So we'll get him on. Matt, obviously, he's not here either. Ripperino, he's probably dead in a ditch.
Joined Avery.
That's right. But with that, we'll just go into the stuff this week. So next week we're not getting a League of Explorers section unlocked just because of, or I guess it's this week. What I meant to say, because tomorrow is Thanksgiving. We didn't talk about last week's, did we at all? I mean, there's really not much to talk about. Anything? Did you guys do it? Anything of note?
You mean like the adventure itself?
Yeah. Like the Chieftain Scarvash. That was a pretty fun fight on heroic for me.
The Trog thing was super annoying. That took me like 6 tries.
Yeah, it was,
which an adventure is not supposed to.
Oh, come on.
That was really annoying. I don't understand. I don't do the heroic versions, but I can't imagine, like, what was the heroic version of that like?
It was, what was the difference there? I'm pretty sure it was the same. He had more health, if I remember correctly.
I don't know. I haven't done the heroics yet for this previous adventure.
I did them all. I'm just trying to remember. It took me a while to get it. I think I beat it with, I want to say I did it with Zulok.
Which boss is this? Oh, on heroic.
This is it's the minecart rush is the one we're talking about.
Well, that's the second one. Yeah, that one.
Oh, I thought that was the one with the trogs.
No. Is that the one you meant? Where you had to escape 10 turns to escape, basically.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that was the one
that
where
one was
all the spells are 1 mana.
Yes, yep. That one was complete RNG. I think I did that one like 20 times before I finally beat it.
Yeah, it was super dumb.
Yeah, I did not like that one at all. The
one it's funny because I actually liked that because it was different from the norm. Not because it was necessarily like it was interesting to approach a solo adventure from a different direction than, hey, let's construct a deck. Let's pick what we think. Like, it's not puzzle solving through the use of a deck. It's puzzle solving through the use of the resources that the game gives you, which is a different way to approach it. So it's kind of cool. It felt more like a tavern brawl, to be honest. But with an AI instead of a player on the other side.
Right.
Go ahead. For me, it just felt like a giant pain in the ass. That's what it felt like. Because I normally, like, the last couple of weeks, basically, I don't mean to sound like a terrible person, but I don't really care that much about the adventures. I just want to get the cards.
Yeah.
And so the last couple of weeks, I'll just jump in and run through it really quick. And I normally just do it like on my breaks at work because I walk around our building at work and I'll do that. And so I played it once and I was like, okay, that was super stupid. And then I played it again and I was like, oh, wow, like this is going to be really hard. And so, like you said, I wound up having to play it like 6 times.
Yeah.
Mm.
I on normal mode it was fine. I think like you, Brad. I enjoyed the ingenuity of it because you're right, it was different. But on heroic mode, you had to get the exact right order, and your opponent had to get the exact right order for you to do it. Because if they dropped a 6-6, a 4-6, and a 4-6, and you didn't drop any damage, and it was just like the owls, you're done. You're toast.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can imagine that being pretty frustrating, especially because like it isn't about deck construction, so you can't make adjustments. You just have to queue it up again and try.
Right.
Yeah, you just have to hope it gives you a good hand.
But the other two were pretty fun on heroic actually. Arcadis and Chieftain Scarvash. So yeah, we got those new cards as well. And then obviously the Tavern Brawl dropped today. Now I played it. Did you guys play it yet?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I actually really liked that. I played basically a dragon priest without any spells in it.
Oh yeah.
For obvious reasons. Oh, for those of you who don't know, this week, play a minion and get a random spell of the same cost but for free. So if you play 1 drop, you get a 1 mana spell and then it drops to 0 mana. If you play a 10 drop, you get a 10 mana spell and it drops to 0. The swings in the game were real. Like, I'd be ahead and then all of a sudden be like, oh my god, what the heck just happened? And then it swing right back again.
I cleared a full board with just a Flame Waker.
Yeah,
once.
right.
Whoa.
So
yeah. So I really liked this week. I know a lot of times we crap on Tavern Brawls. I don't think we're their target audience for that. But I really like this week. So bravo, Blizzard, bravo.
It was okay.
Yeah, as Tavern Brawls go, I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I played Face Hunter. I won, so I'm content with it. Right.
So now on to 2 different things. There are 2 decks that I just wanted to talk about. We've talked about changes in existing decks with some of the new cards, and over the last 2 episodes, we've talked about the new cards that have just come out. And a couple have been kind of, oh, these are terrible cards, but we're seeing some of the pros start to play them. So, first one, I just want to talk about it is Reynad's new Zoo meta deck, I guess. Now, I don't know if he's still playing this or not.
Is this the Shaman one?
No, this is a Zoo build. He did also put together a Shaman build that's been picking up.
Yeah.
We
I
can
haven't
discuss
seen
both
the Zoo one.
The Zoo one, I know it has Reliquary Seeker in it.
Yes.
The 1/1 that if you have a full board if you have 6 other minions on the board, so basically a full board, it gets +4/+4.
And that's really what I want to talk about, because I'm looking at the rest of it, and it's a pretty standard Zoo deck.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, all the
he basically cut Knife Jugglers for Reliquary Seekers, and he picked up 1 Zombie Chow because it's a more resilient 1-drop, which helps create that ability to create a bigger board in the early game to help facilitate the Reliquary Seeker and Gormok the Impaler, which is the 4-mana legendary that if you have 4 or more things, does 4
This
damage.
is the token one, the like floodboard token one.
Basically,
yeah.
Which, I mean, that's what Reliquary Seeker depends on.
Yeah.
I still don't like it, though, and I haven't seen it played yet. Have either of you guys seen this played yet? Either played against it? Have you played it? Do you think any different of that card?
So the reason I've been playing Zoo is because of that deck. I saw that post on Reddit and it got to the front page, and immediately I went online and I was like, oh, I knew this is where this would fit, Reliquary Seeker, like if it worked, And so I played 1 game with it, and the second I played 1 game with it, I played against the mirror, and I was like, oh my gosh, people are going to be on this deck. I'm switching back to Knife Jugglers, Haunted Creepers, the more like the aggro build that we were just talking about, because it's going to destroy that build. And sure, I mean, it doesn't have like a huge edge, but in the mirror match, it helps out a lot. Okay. And so I was finding that matchup maybe 3 to 4 times out of 10 games. So I would say something around that. Like the percentage of them was for the next 2 hours on ladder was skewed towards it dramatically because it was on the front of Reddit. Yeah, and so I I lost to it once. I beat it 6 times and called it a game. You know, so I was very happy with how it went. Now, 2 to 3 hours earlier, had that deck been very good? Probably, because it was positioned for the meta and where it was at. But the second I saw that on Reddit, I knew exactly what my game plan was. It was like if I can't beat him, join him, but do it more efficiently and kind of cut the cute stuff that was probably good in a certain time frame, the Reliquary Seeker, but just cut the cute stuff and just try and play board position with them. Because if everyone's playing that same Zoo deck, the Reliquary Seeker gets worse because the Zoo deck's trying to play board position against a Zoo deck that's trying to play board position. And so the two of them are just bouncing off from each other, and there's never going to be a full board. There's always going to be, you know, pass the turn, I have 3 things on the board. And then they have like 1, and they're like, okay, clear 2 of your things. Pass the turn, I have 3 things now, and he has 1. And then and it goes back and forth like that because it's all about resource exchange in that matchup. It's not necessarily about your life total. Mm-hmm. So for that exact reason, I was finding the Zoo deck that is more of a traditional aggro Zoo as compared to this more token aggro Zoo to be better. So I just was like, I'll just clean up house.
Yeah, so for those of you who don't know, Reliquary Seeker is a 1/1 for 1 Warlock minion. Reads Battlecry. If you have 6 other minions, gain +4/+4. And so 2 episodes ago, we did not give it a very good review. I think we all kind of knew where this fit.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking like you, and maybe it's just the meta adapted so quickly. Well, for example, I'm playing the version with Gormok, the Impaler.
Yeah.
And I generally, I would say probably 80% of the time when I pull that card, I've got enough cards on the board to play it. Mm-hmm. And if you could play it on turn 4, oh my God, it's amazing. It's a huge tempo swing, or it can be. But I'm still, if it's that early in the game, usually it doesn't happen. If I pull it like turn 8, 9, I'm good. I'm pretty good because I can at least drop something. I might have 2 things on the board. But having 6 things on the board, it happens, and it happens quite a bit in Zoo. That just deck leans toward it. But I don't feel like it happens enough. But
yeah, I feel like you got to hit 4 on your implosion in order to like get there, or 3. And so it's just so random to get to that point.
Yeah. And now obviously when it happens, it's fantastic. Then I'm trying to think of your board state at that point. Let's say you've got a couple minions, you throw it at implosion, and you hit 4, you roll high. Okay, now you've got 6. You've got 4 1/1s. Maybe a 2/3 like an Argent Protector, maybe a 3/2 or 2/1 Abusive Sergeant, something like that. Basically, what I'm getting at is all a bunch of small minions and then a 5/5. Or would you rather? And I know this plays a Sea Giant, or plays 2 rather. When would you just not play the Sea Giant, instead play that? Or is it kind of, I could play Sea Giant, but I'm never going to get the opportunity to get this buff on the Seeker, so I'm going to play the Seeker instead. So instead of playing an 8/8, you're playing a 5/5.
Yeah, there seems like there's a conflicting interest there a bit.
Yeah, and that's why I don't like the card. But obviously, this hit, like you said, tip top of Reddit, the subreddit there. There's something to it I'm not seeing. And I'm desperately trying to figure out what's going on there.
I think it's just more of a meta call. And I understand why they want Reliquary Seeker, because when you're going wide like that, Reliquary Seeker being a 5/5 gets around Flame Strike, it gets around Consecration, it gets around basically all the mass board wipe effects, which otherwise the aggro Zoo deck would struggle against. So those turns where you're overcommitting to the board when you're creating a large board presence, you're able to make yourself a little more resilient against these board clear effects. By having a 5/5 on the board, rather than putting another 2/2 out or something like that, which I think is why it's running both Sea Giant and Reliquary Seeker, because both of those do the same thing. So it's like when you don't have the Reliquary Seeker, you can play the Sea Giant, or when you don't have the necessary requirements for the Reliquary Seeker, you can also play the Sea Giant, or vice versa. If you have the Reliquary Seeker's required requirements, you can play the Reliquary Seeker. And the downside of it being just a 1/1 for 1 is it's not too dramatic, because the Warlock deck is able to draw so many cards. So I think the deck's pretty solid in what it's trying to do. Now, is it Is it the most desirable build? I personally don't think it is, though. It's definitely a meta call build.
So what is this good against then? We're talking about a meta call.
Let me think here for a second. It's probably pretty solid against the control warrior matchup, because if they're gonna brawl you and you have just a bunch of things you don't care about for the most part, it's generally okay. And it goes wide, and it's incredible against the druid matchup for the most part, it would seem. Druid is going to struggle for sure against a 2-mana 8/8. It's just it's incredibly hard for a druid deck to deal with.
Right.
So it has the similar good matchups that I think the typical zoo build does, but I think really where it got its strength was its ability to catch people off guard. The last time.
Is this more of a tournament deck then? Because that's what I'm starting to hear from you is control warrior druid.
No.
Okay.
I'd rather be playing a normal zoo build.
That's
personally.
what I thought too. Okay. And the rest of the cards in the deck make complete sense. Like, oh yeah, you're playing a bunch of little minions. Oh yeah, Sea Giant, of course. It's
Right.
the Seeker. That's the only card where I'm like, because even on its own, a 1/1 for 1, they're better. I don't know. I guess it's, if you get the opportunity to play it, it's fantastic. But
yeah.
I don't know.
Okay, so this is gonna sound a little bit off the deep end here, but Reliquary Seeker, I mentioned it, maybe I mentioned on the podcast. I know I mentioned on my stream at least. I knew the card was gonna fit in a zoo build if it fit anywhere. But I think the card is still missing a piece. And this is gonna sound a little bit crazy, but I think it might be Murloc Tiny Fin. So you get a build that's incredibly aggro. You get to run 2 Wisps. I know this is sounding off the deep end. 2 Wisps, 2 Murloc Tiny Fins, 2 Reliquary Seekers, 2 Sea Giants, Gurmok the Impaler, all these things that interact with having a ton of stuff on the board. And you get Dark Peddlers as well, which give you more card economy for the long term. And so it gives you this kind of...
Jeremy doesn't like it.
It's crazy aggro is the idea behind it. And it's just all in. It's all in. It's kind of like, I don't know, a less resilient affinity for people who play Magic.
Yes.
It's this sort of like spit your hand out as quickly as possible. And the idea is in a typical zoo deck, you're about turn 6 is when you want to start life tapping with your hero power to draw more cards. And instead, the idea with this build is, in my head at least, what I'm thinking about with it, is that turn 2 or 3 you're life tapping. And you just want to, or probably turn 3 is when you want to life tap. Because turn 2 you probably have a solid threat like a Haunted Creeper or Nerubian Egg to put out. Maybe even a Dark Peddler.
We need to get a Bloodlust for Warlock.
That's the other thing too. I was thinking, it's like, all right, if Warlock had an ability like that, having a 1/1, that's just a 1/1, not a big deal. You still have something to buff. I don't know. I can see that though. Maybe we're missing something, or something just hasn't come out yet. Or like a Murloc deck.
Murloc Warlock?
Murloc Warlock, yeah.
Well, that was a thing, right? That's where Murloc fit the best back when it was a thing.
Right.
Maybe Tiny Fin, Reliquary Seeker, Murloc Warlock.
Right.
If you're gonna do that, you might as well throw in Hobgoblin too. So
right.
All the value.
That's another card I've wanted to work so bad. I played that Druid deck for a long time, just with mixed results, but it's when it works, it's awesome.
So it's when you cast a 1. So Hobgoblin is a 3-mana, right? It's 3-mana 2/3. When you play a 1 attack minion, the 1 attack minion gets +2/+2. Is that right?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
So I think it fits pretty well there. I mean, think about it. 2 Wisps,
Seeker isn't that terrible.
Yeah, 2 Wisps, 2 Murloc Tiny Fins, 2 Reliquary Seekers, 2 Echoing Oozes, 2 Haunted Creepers.
2 Annoyatrons.
Yeah, you could run a Noitron.
So
you still get Nerubian
2
Egg.
Goldshire Footmen.
Whoa, going off the end there. So what do you? So let's talk about this deck. Then what do we take out to put into Hobgoblins?
Your top end.
Have to take out a lot.
Top end.
Yeah.
Okay. like a Dr. Boom and a
Yeah,
Lotus?
you just go all in. You don't worry about the Dr. Boom.
Okay.
You still get 2 Doom Guards because your hand is empty all the time, and that'd be your top
You keep
end.
Sea Giant because Sea Giant is just a value play at that point.
Yeah. Okay, so Dr. Boom and Lothab.
I mean, think about it this way. If I go turn 1, this is the God hand. If you go turn 1, Wisp, Tiny Fin, what would be a good one? Abusive Sergeant, and just because you need a 1-drop. And like, what's the one that has Argent? Let's go with Argent Squire. Argent Squire, go. Then the next turn you go Sea Giant.
Oh my God!
Wait, you can't have drawn that many cards.
Oh yeah, never mind. That wouldn't even work. Well, no, if you have coin, you have 5 cards. Yeah, never mind. It wouldn't work.
That's too
bad.
You
only have 5 cards. Doesn't work.
Like a turn 3 Sea Giant. Holy crap!
So it'd be like what? Turn 1 Haunted Creeper, turn 2 spit everything out, and then turn 3 Sea Giant. That's the idea.
If you happen to pull all those things in that order, GG.
That seems pretty ridiculous.
Yeah. Oh man. All right. Well, again.
But I think Reliquary Seeker is just a splash in the pan.
Okay.
It will see play in some Zoo Lock type lists, but it's not that amazing. So yeah.
All right. Next one, I actually found on our friend's website over at Vicious Syndicate. It's LBYS's, I guess Libby's, I think. Aggro Freeze Mage, #1 legend in Asia.
Oh wow.
So I'll put obviously these in the show notes. This deck, very interesting. So I'm gonna go through it real quick. I know you guys have it. 2 Arcane Missile, 2 Ice Lance, 2 Leper Gnome, 2 Mana Worm, 2 Frostbolt, 1 Blood Mage Thalnos, my favorite card in the game, 2 Loot Hoarder, 2 Matter Bomber, 2 Mad Scientist, 2 Arcane Intellect, 2 Forgotten Torches, which we're going to talk about that card. I've been seeing a lot of that in Freeze Mage. 2 Frost Nova, 2 Ice Block, an Arcane Golem, 2 Quadlight Oracle, and 2 Fireball. Holy crap. It's like no sustain at all other than card draw, I guess. Yeah. And then I guess your freezes. But what do you guys think? Like, so before we even get a Forgotten Torch, what do you guys think of this deck to begin with? Like,
I love it. I love that style of deck.
So aggressive.
So aggressive.
I played it.
Did you? Okay.
Yeah. So I actually crafted a Blood Mage Thalnos to build this deck.
Okay.
And I didn't do very well with it, but I don't think that's because the deck is bad. I think it's because I'm bad.
It is, well, first, it is Freeze Mage. So that's inherently it's more difficult of a deck.
Well, it's sort of Freeze Mage.
Yes.
In that the only thing Freeze Mage about it is that you actually you use the ice block to ignore their board.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So ice block is not really. I found the games that I didn't draw ice block, I lost. The games that I drew ice block, I won.
Huh.
Because whereas Face Hunter uses like explosive trap to ignore the board, this basically doesn't ignore the actual board and just throws up ice block. The ice block basically the text on it should just read, "You get 1 additional turn." So, I mean, I thought the deck was really, really fun, and it's pretty good because I saw I watch VLPS stream a lot, and at one point he was streaming in Legend with this, and he had, I think it was 7 wins before he got a loss. So I know the deck's good, but I'm not very good with it. So. It is difficult. You have to count a lot of damage. You have to plan really far ahead.
I'm seeing a little bit of RNG in there too, like
Yeah, it definitely is. Like a couple of games, you lose if the arcane missiles go to the wrong place and stuff like
Okay.
that. So
Yeah.
but it's definitely very, very fun.
Are they fast games?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
really like you're not going to have a game that goes past turn, I'd say 6.
Wow. Okay.
Great ladder
you're-
deck in that in that regard. Then
Yeah, you basically the way that the games seemed to work was you get into about turn 5 or 6, and then you cast Arcane Intellect, and then you either win the next turn or you die the next turn.
Got it.
yeah.
So you're going to about turn 7 max. If you get past turn 7, the problem is you have to like. This deck is more face than face hunter. Like you literally just ignore the board. So
Cold Light Oracle seems sweet in the deck.
Yeah.
Then because its integration with Ice Block is really nice.
yeah.
Because you can give your opponent as many cards as you want if you're going to go Ice Block, go and try and set up for a win the next turn afterwards.
Yeah.
So it's kind of nice to have that available to you. And it also allows you to hit your Forgotten Torches, 6 damage torches faster as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I like it. Yeah.
So let's talk.
You should try it out, Brad.
Yeah.
Like,
maybe I'll give it a
I
shot
think
this evening.
I think you'll definitely like it.
Cool.
Now let's talk about that then. The Forgotten Torch. We sort of talked about that card a little bit, and I think we all liked it. It's a 3-mana mage spell. Deal 3 damage. Shuffle a Roaring Torch into your deck that deals 6 damage. We obviously we all said, oh yeah, freeze mage, gonna love this card.
Yeah.
Right.
You get 3 damage, and then you get essentially, if you run 2 of these, 32 cards in your deck, 2 extra fireballs that cost half price. Okay, yeah, I'm in.
Yeah, it's 9. It's 9 damage for 6 mana.
Right.
Basically, is what you're looking at.
And 2 extra cards. It's not even like,
Right.
we talk about things like, running the Seeker in the Zulok deck. You're having to take something out to play this. No, you get an extra card with this.
Right.
Yeah.
So, excellent card. I really like this card, especially in Freeze Mage. I think that has a solid place there. I guess even Tempo Mage or Flamemaker Mage.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Brad, have you put it in any of your Tempo Mage builds? I know you run
haven't.
a lot of Tempo.
I haven't messed with Tempo Mage basically in like a month or two. I've been sidetracked with Reno Jackson, so I haven't gotten back around to that. But now that I'm actually making a push for Legend, that like a Tempo Mage variant or something along these lines seems very, very well suited to quickly move up the ladder and be very effective in Legend as well.
Where are you? I saw you were at rank 2 last night.
I think I'm still at rank 2. Let me double check real quick. Yeah.
Speaking of, while you're looking at you're looking at that, did you guys see the announcement from Blizzard about the way that everything works next year? Basically, anyone who gets to Legend gets WCS points.
Really? Wow.
So
Yeah.
I'm going to Legend every month now.
Yeah.
My outcries have been heard.
Like, I don't know exactly how it works, and I don't think it explicitly said how it works, but so they're trying to make it a little bit more attainable. They did announce that their tournaments, like the Blizzard tournaments, will be Conquest again, except it's going to be 4 decks with a ban. So
interesting.
That'll be pretty cool. Yeah, so because I was really worried that they were going to go back to Last Hero Standing just because I didn't like that format at all. I'm not a huge fan of the ban. I like the way that it currently is. So this is kind of like a middle way in between. So that way, if there is like a super, super overpowered deck that arises halfway through the year, everybody can just ban it and it's not a problem.
Yeah,
and that helps create diversity too, which is good.
Yeah, the only thing I dislike about it, and Kibler kind of said this, is that basically what you wind up with. So, like, let's say a Maz joins a tournament, everyone's just going to ban his priest.
That's you took the words out of my mouth. Yeah.
So it kind of sucks because you tune in and you're like, all right, let's get to see a Maz play some priests because that's what we're here for. And a Maz doesn't get to play priest the entire tournament, or like Reynad doesn't get to play Zoo. Like I don't know. That kind of sucks, but at the same time, if you're going to make any kind of concession so that they don't have to just immediately ban cards that are good, like I felt like if this was the case this last year, they could have not banned Patron, because Patron wasn't a ladder problem. Patron was a tournament problem. That's why they waited until right before the World Championship to ban him. So
I still hated that deck though. With a
yeah, do you like all the aggro on the ladder now?
I don't mind it.
Is that making you?
I don't.
You
mind
don't mind it?
I don't mind it. No.
All right.
No.
Because Secret Pally's freaking annoying.
Secret Paladin is annoying.
I've actually started playing Hunter again, just because of that deck. So I've been playing like a mid-range.
Secret Pally? How do you beat Secret Pally with Hunter? What deck?
Flares.
Oh, are you playing like that aggressive Hunter?
It's a little bit. I mean, it's got Argent Horse Rider in it.
Okay.
Okay.
But I mean,
I was gonna say because mid-range Hunter is not favored versus Secret Pally at all, or at least
I mean, I'm still
the
running
versions that I've run.
A Houndmaster, a Piloted Shredder, a Loatheb, 2 High Mains, and a Dr. Boom.
Okay.
But the rest of it's like Web Spinner, your Owls, your Knife Juggler, all that stuff.
All right.
The same.
That makes sense.
But that
I know
flare,
Face Hunter's really, really good against.
Yeah, can you get it out real quick?
Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I've been playing. I'm doing you proud, Jeremy. I've been playing mid-range Hunter the last.
I saw
so.
that. I logged on last night and you were playing. It was that was a lot of fun.
I think I was 11-1 with the deck before I finally took a couple losses.
It's really good right now.
Yeah,
which is awesome because for the last month it has been pretty bad.
Yeah,
I tried. I was trying out some of the new cards and I tried out what's the 4-mana spider that gets you a beast.
Tomb Spider.
Yeah, I tried out Tomb Spider in it, and it's okay, but you just wind up in this really weird spot where like you don't want to cut Houndmaster and you don't want to cut Piloted Shredder, and it's not as good as either of those. So
yeah,
I do like the Discover mechanic. The Discover mechanic, especially like this, I feel like they could really go somewhere with this, especially if they. So you guys know the 1 mana, or it's the 2 mana 1/1 spider that when it enters the battlefield, it's you get a 3 cost, discover a 3 cost card.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So if that card was a 2/2, that would be like that would be in almost every deck.
Yeah.
That card is really good, and even as a 1/1, I think. I really wish it were a 2/2. It makes me sad because they have stuff like Mad Scientist, so it's not like they're afraid to, and Shielded Minibot, so it's not like they're afraid to print overpowered 2-drops.
I kind of wish it was a 1/2, at least.
Sure.
Yeah.
Like
or 1/3, something.
Yeah. I know it just
dies.
Yeah, it does. I know it's giving you an extra card, so it's effectively, like we said, making your deck 31 cards large. So, for 1 mana, yeah, that's pretty fair. But I feel like making it a 2, I don't think that's game breaking, but I think it helps out against some of the other aggro decks.
Yeah.
A little bit.
A 1/3 if you don't want to make it a 2/2.
Yeah. 2/2 would be ridiculous.
2/2.
That would be like Piloted Shredder level, I think.
I don't know. Piloted Shredder's gross. It would be included in a lot of decks.
Yes, a lot. Yeah, I see what you mean. Or it's kind of like, oh, I need a 4-drop. Okay, Shredder. What are you playing? It doesn't matter.
Yeah, I don't care. The Shredder.
Yeah.
I've been sold on that on the Discover mechanic too. It's been it gives you options, and that's so good, and it creates more dynamic games in that way because there's more options to the player. That gives the player like ways. Here's my example: Dark Peddler. Right, I got a young Dragon Hawk as one of my options, and I took it because I knew I wasn't going to win this game if I wasn't able to double power overwhelming this young Dragon Hawk, which is a 1/1 for 1 that has Wind Fury. Like that's all it is. It's a 1/1 for 1 that has Wind Fury. It's generally never played. It's not good at all. But I had 2 Void Walkers in hand, and so I was like, all right, well. If I get this, there's still a chance to win. I can put myself in, I can take a line that might win me the game. And my other option was, pick up another power overwhelming, which seems great, but I picked up this young Dragonhawk, which It's just so obscure. It's not normal to see it happen. But I had the ability to play a line that is different and dynamic from what you normally see in Hearthstone, which is great. And I ended up winning the game because I double power overwhelmed the next turn and hit him for 18 with a young Dragonhawk. You know, so like,
gross.
Yeah, so like it's just I love the Discover mechanic because of its ability to make the games do more. And
I like that it's random without being random.
Yeah, it's skill-based RNG.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
That's perfect. Love it. Please.
Did you guys see the game where Savitz won by taking Angry Chicken?
No.
Oh no.
So he was playing versus he was playing like Zoo versus Handlock, I believe it was, and he basically had the same situation where he had his opponent at like 11, and he had an Angry Chick. Like he picked up Angry Chicken and he threw it down on the board, and he's only got 2 creatures. The guy pulls out Dark Bomb. Dark Bomb's the 2/2, but leaves the Angry Chicken alone, and so he basically. I forget how he damaged this dude, but he power overwhelming the Angry Chicken and like pinged it somehow with something and wound up doing like 11 damage or 10 damage or something like that. He was just like, please don't. And it was on stream. He was just like, please don't kill the Angry Chicken. Please just don't kill the Angry Chicken. And the guy pulled out Dark Bomb and he's like, oh, you're going to hit the other guy, right? Sweet. Not the Angry Chicken. All right. I win. And then he goes to play a card and he's like, okay, don't be a taunt. Don't be a taunt. It's not a taunt. Angry Chicken.
Yeah, that's probably the only game in Hearthstone history where it's like, oh my God, Angry Chicken. Yes.
Yeah, it was great.
That or a Hunter deck, I guess.
Yeah. So
that's funny.
Yeah. Yeah. It's definitely, in my opinion, the best mechanic that they've introduced since like, Nax.
Like new stuff, like a new mechanic, right?
Yeah,
like Inspire, I think it inspires future opportunities. Got him. But I don't know. Right now, I'm sorry, everybody. Yeah, right now.
There's nothing to be sorry about. It's just safe. It's just a safe pun joke. Yeah. Everything's gonna be okay.
Nobody got hurt that we know of. Somebody just drove out and died in a ditch, and they heard my joke. I don't know. Yeah, Inspire is just kind of slow right now.
It's the problem with Inspire is if we want to talk about randomness and good randomness versus bad randomness, Inspire is just straight random. Like if you're going to get the card or not. So the downside on the card, let's say King's Elic, is so great that you just get a 3/2. It's just a Bloodfin Raptor at that point. But the upside is so great that it's just insane. And that fluctuation, that drastic fluctuation in randomness, it creates amazing experiences and it creates very, very poor experiences for the player as well. So sometimes it's going to feel terrible and sometimes it's going to feel great. So,
do you run Elic in mid-range, Hunter?
I've been running one for a little while, and then I just ended up cutting it. I said, "Screw it! I don't even want to play with it because of that reason."
It's the most cuttable card. I have a 1 of in my mid-range Hunter deck, and if I need to add anything for like as a meta call, I would cut the Elic. But the Elic is okay as a 1 of. You definitely
so you're just playing it just so that you can increase your odds of hitting high main on turn 6, right?
It is. I play it so that basically sometimes you have to, with mid-range hunters, sometimes on turn 2, you have to throw out a Knife Juggler. And so it's better than throwing out a Knife Juggler on turn 2.
Okay, that makes sense.
Because like if they've got Fiery War Axe up, sometimes you can't afford the tempo loss of not playing anything on turn 2 if you have a Knife Juggler. So I've sacrificed the Knife Juggler into a Fiery War Axe a lot, and it's better to sacrifice.
I know, but that's just the worst feeling in the world.
Yeah, but you have to do it. You can't you can't let them keep their Fiery War Axe up and armor up,
well, it's kind of like when someone drops a Zombie Chow and you're playing an aggro deck. It's like, oh, come on.
Yeah. You're like, I have to play. I've played Knife Juggler into Zombie, and that's another thing. Like Knife Juggler into Zombie Chow, sometimes you just have to do it.
Yeah.
So
I hate it.
It's better to throw out King's Elic and possibly get a card off of it, even if it's only like I'd say King's Relic for me has been like 40%, roughly.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That sounds about right. Because
But I
especially
run-
in a deck that has a lot of low end.
Yeah, I run double Belcher, one Lotheb,
Okay.
Dr. Boom, 2 Savannah High Main, 2 Piloted Shredder, 2 Houndmaster. So
Wow.
I've been going a little bit more aggressive. I cut the Sludge Belchers entirely, actually.
oh yeah, I kept them in there
yeah.
just because I was seeing so much Secret Pally, and Sludge Belcher is
Okay.
really good versus
Yeah.
Secret Pally.
Yeah, I haven't seen it in troves. Like I haven't seen tons of it just over and over and over, but it still shows up occasionally.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Speaking
definitely.
of Secret Pally, so week before last week was just not having very good luck with that deck. This week though, it's been good. Life's been good. I've joined the pain train of Secret Paladin.
The pain train.
I read up on it. You know, the more I played it, the more comfortable I got with it. And I read about, okay, here's what you need to mulligan for, depending on the classes, things like that. That obviously, if you're not doing that, you're an idiot like I was. So you need to do that. That made all the difference in the world. Just the thought of keeping a mysterious challenger in your hand, it kind of broke me.
You got to do it, man.
Yeah, it's kind of like, why am I keeping this 6 drop in an aggro deck? That makes no sense to me. Why am I throwing away all these 1-drops? But I guess once you get past that mentality, and it's okay, because it is, if you don't pull a mysterious challenger, you lose.
Yeah.
You have to pull that card.
Yeah, otherwise the deck is a bad mid-range paladin.
Right. Yeah, an extremely bad one. Yeah. I made a couple changes, but nothing feels better than turn 6ing Mysterious Challenger, turn 7 Dr. Boom, turn 6 Mysterious Challenger, turn 8 or 9 Tyrion.
Yeah.
It just feels so good.
Well, I told you guys it was last week that I went like 17-0 with the deck from 13 all the way to 5, or from 13 all the way to 6.
Wow.
It was just disgusting. Like, that deck is...
When it works, it's dumb.
It's real good.
I feel this is the first deck that I've played when it's been popular, and like everyone says, oh, you play Secret Paladin, good for you, you know, slow clap. And it doesn't feel as dirty as some of the other decks.
Sure.
But it feels a little,
because it definitely can miss.
Yeah, but when it hits, and it hits hard, like when you Mysterious Challenger, they get through all the secrets and they're like, all right, we're good, I got through the secrets, and then you drop it again. That feels dirty. Well,
the deal with Secret Paladin, the reason it's so good is because the best draw, like the dream with it is better than the dream with any other deck. Like if you were to say, all right, this is my perfect draw, and you were to sit down and write that out with every deck, the version with Secret Pally is just so much more powerful than the version with anything else. Like you go, turn 1 shielded mini bot into shielded mini bot into muster for battle into piloted shredder into Lotheb or Sludge Belcher into Mysterious Challenger into Dr. Boom into Mysterious Challenger Hero Power into Tyrion.
Right.
Like, and it's great, and that happens sometimes.
So gross.
And when it is, like, you just feel really bad.
I've wondered about putting card draw in this deck, because I feel like that's something that hurts you too. But
so well, I don't know. You kind of don't want to draw your secrets.
That's true too. That is very true.
So,
I mean, Divine Favor has seen play in some builds, but I think it feels very much like the mid-range hunter decks where it just wants to curve out, and it doesn't care as much about creating card economy and just creating more cards. It just wants to continually do what its game plan is every single time and do it as efficiently as possible.
Right.
And if it does all those things, it generally can interact with every single other deck that's doing their things as well. And even though it may be back and forth, at some point, once you slam a Mysterious Challenger, you're so far ahead on tempo because of all the gains that you get from that Mysterious Challenger that it's just so hard to catch up, especially if the next turn you go Dr. Boom. It's just so hard to catch up from that position.
Yeah.
You better be playing a control deck that's able to just kill the things without even have to attacking at that point. It's like really your only way of catching up at that point.
I think that's why mid-range Paladin got so good there for a while, because they were running like basically they eliminate Mysterious Challenger and the cards with Equality Consecrate,
Yeah.
Like they just attack once, let everything go off, Equality Consecrate. You better have another Mysterious Challenger, otherwise the game's over. So
and then Patron Warrior came on the scene, because I was playing a lot of mid-range Paladin before Patron Warrior was the thing.
True.
Yeah.
And I don't think you can play that now because of Secret Paladin. I just feel like it's against that deck, in my opinion, I think Secret Paladin is just better.
Then Patron Warrior? Old Patron Warrior?
No, then
against,
mid-range.
mid-range. Like in a mid-range.
Oh, yeah. I don't know. It depends. If you run double Equality, double Consecrate, then mid-range Paladin's pretty good.
The problem for me in that statement is that you need both Equality and Consecration, where you just need Mysterious Challenger on the other side. So I'd rather be on the Mysterious Challenger side of it.
Well,
but I can understand that it's really still good in the
Challenger. You need Mysterious Challenger and to not draw your secrets.
Yeah.
Sure, that's a good point.
So with one, you need to have drawn 2 cards. With the other, you need to have drawn 1 card, but not other cards.
Sure. So I guess they both have their downsides in that regard.
Yeah.
Then.
I mean, I'm with you. I don't think that mid-range Paladin is better than Secret Paladin, but it does have the ability. It's one of the few decks that has that comeback mechanic.
Mm-hmm.
I'm running 2 Blessing of Kings, and I've wondered about taking one of those out and putting something else in.
I run one in mine.
Okay, I'm wondering what I could run in place of that.
Let me pull up my version of the deck, because like I said, I watch VLPS a lot, and so like the dude's real good. He made it to the top 16 of the World Championship. Obviously, he's pretty good.
Yeah, it sounds like he might be all right.
He's all right.
Yeah.
Let's see. I've got the package of 4 secrets, 6 copies. So where did it go? And now my iPad's slowing down. Here it is.
Yeah.
I've got 2 Avenge, 2 Noble Sacrifice, 1 Competitive Spirit, 1 Redemption. And then I've got double Secret Keeper, 1 Owl, 2 Knife Jugglers, 2 Shielded, 1 Cog Hammer, 2 Musters, 2 Owl Doors, 2 Truce. Yeah, I run 2 Owl Doors, 2 True Silver Champions, 1 Blessing of King, 1 Consecration, 2 Piloted Shredder, 2 Belchers, 2 Mysterious Challenger, Dr. Boom, and Tyrion.
Okay.
So. Yeah, Belcher just kind of sets you up for your turn 6, because a lot of times you'll get to turn 6, but they will have cleared all your dudes. So Mysterious Challenger, while good, isn't great. Whereas Belcher after Piloted Shredder is just most of the time, like that in and of itself is kind of hard to beat. And then if you follow that up with Mysterious Challenger, is kind of busted.
I'm running a Lotheb, but no Belchers. I wonder if I could at least. I don't know. I guess it's a meta call, but
I guess what has Lotheb been good against?
Yeah, on ladder right now, not.
I mean, I guess it's good against Freeze Mage, but you kind of already, if you're playing Secret Pally, you kind of already lose that match, right?
Yeah.
So
what do you guys think
guess
about,
you have to. I guess you have to.
Go ahead.
Yeah, Druid.
Oh, it's good against Druid, definitely, because it stops their combo turn.
Right.
That's a good point.
Ahead,
what do you guys think about Keeper of Oldamon moving forward? I kind of discounted this card a little bit at first when we first did the set review. So Keeper of Oldamon is a 4-mana 3/4. It has Battle Cry, and it sets a minion's attack and health to 3. So effectively, at 4 mana, it can make a 7/7 Dr. Boom into a 3/3, or it can turn your Silverhand Recruit, your 1/1, into a 3/3. So it's effectively like a Houndmaster with its ability to pump your dudes, or it has something similar to what Aldor Peacekeeper does for you, which is make your or your opponent's minions worse.
Yeah. I've seen it a couple times on ladder.
Okay.
What do you think, Jeremy?
I think I ignored it because I didn't think about targeting your own dudes. But once you kind of realize that that's a thing, like you said, you kind of compare it at that point to Houndmaster, which is a very playable card. So I don't know. Like
it feels like a Houndmaster.
It seems good, but I don't know what you replace. So you can't replace
because we were talking about
True
those,
Silver, right?
Right, you definitely can't replace True Silver Champion.
And you can't replace Piloted Shredder.
Can't replace Piloted Shredder, no. What about just cutting the Sludge Belchers? I don't know if that's correct, but like I was thinking about it, and you played a turn earlier, granted. And the downside, though, is sometimes it's better on turn 6 when you can put out your own 1/1 plus stick it on the board. Yeah. But I like the card a lot, and I think maybe it has a place in maybe more in the mid-range Paladin list rather than the Secret Paladin list.
Yeah, I think you're right there.
Yeah, I think so as well. I'm not 100% sure, but I feel like it could potentially find itself into a one of in a Secret Paladin list, depending on where we're at in the meta. But it's just it's so versatile. And we were talking about this with the Discover mechanic. This card does a very similar thing. It gives you options, and giving you options makes a more dynamic and more fun game. And generally puts you in a position where if you play correctly and you are the better player, you're going to be able to put yourself in a position to win. So I really like the card, and I just feel like there might be a spot for it. There might be a home for it, and I'd really hope that there is a home at some point sometime soon.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think I undervalued it as well, but I do see how it can be effective.
Yeah. I don't know. I might test it out in Secret Paladin here in a little bit. I haven't really played too much Secret Paladin in a while. I've kind of just gotten bored of the same. I know it's really good.
If your goal is legend, you should. Once you get there,
mid-range hunter.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I think you can, but
yeah, I just haven't dodged the Secret Paladins.
If you're wanting to get there in 30 less games, you should be playing Secret Paladin.
Oh, okay. But yeah, I might play some Secret Paladin with a Keeper of Oldemon and see how effective it is.
Yeah, take out the Blessing of Kings and put in a Secret Keeper.
Yeah,
that seems like a good exchange.
I feel like the only time you don't want to play it is when you have to buff one of your opponent's minions and they're less than 3 health and 3 attack. Like you have an empty board. But I'm wondering in a deck like Secret Paladin if that's a problem.
It doesn't feel like it.
You've got 3 turns to put something on the board.
Yeah, and you have enough 4-drops as well that you'll probably have a secondary option.
That's true. Maybe it's not, maybe 2 of, maybe it's too much. I don't know, just thinking through that logic, but a 1 of?
It might be too much to have a 2 of, especially at 4 mana.
You know what card I actually played a little bit of this week that like I don't ever see anyone play. What's the 3 mana card that turns a random minion into a 1/1 or a 5/5?
Tinkmaster Oversmart.
Tinkmaster. Yeah. All right, so I put this card. I basically was just looking up like old school mid-range paladins, and they had this card where like mind control tech used to be, and so I put it as a 1-of, basically in place of like Cog Hammer. Not thinking it was good, but thinking like I'm bored, so I'll try this out. The amount of times though that I went like, all right, so turn 1. Zombie Chow. Turn 2, Hero Power. Turn 3, I can clear their board and still have my Zombie Chow, and then turn my Zombie Chow into a 1/1 or a 5/5. Or like I got matched up against the mirror, and I got to turn a Tyrion into it turned into a 5/5. So it still sucked, but it's better than a 6/6 with Divine Shield, right. So
that gives your opponent a 5.
It made me think. So I look back. I haven't been playing the entire history of Hearthstone, but originally Tinkmaster was targetable.
Yes.
And it made me think, wow,
Well,
that card.
everybody
was-
played it back then.
Yeah, it was broken.
Tinkmaster and oh my god, what was the other one?
Nat Pagel.
Nat Pagel. Everybody
Nat Pagel.
played those two cards.
Yeah.
And then they got nerfed into oblivion.
Yeah. So I was just like,
Hmm.
it made me think, wow, this card's fun. Like I don't think
It
it's
is
that
fun.
good.
No,
I don't think it's that good, but it is the time I did get to. I lived the dream once of turn 2. I was playing against. Oh God, what was it? It was like it was Handlock. So I got to turn because he didn't play anything on turn 1 or turn 2. So I got to turn my 1/1 Silverhand recruit into a 5/5, and that was really fun because they don't have an answer for a 5/5 on turn 3. So
Right.
that was nice.
Yeah,
But-
I don't. I wish that card was still as good as it used to be.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think it's a cool card still, and I think it has potential. And I like the idea of playing with it. But yeah, again, it's just the downside is so great.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's gonna really suck. But yeah, as a one of, I think it's fine because yeah, you were talking about your in like a secret paladin list, even like just being able to have an aggressive start. You can generally answer their board and only give yourself the downside or the upside, which is good.
Right. Which is usually
yeah.
one of your 1/1s, so it doesn't matter.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. At the very
And
worst, it just stays a 1/1.
sometimes you're holding. Well, the reason that I put it in there, it had an Aldor Peacekeeper too, and sometimes you have to hold on to like those turns where you play an Aldor Peacekeeper and like without the battle cry, you know, like their board's clear, but you still have to keep applying pressure, otherwise you can't do anything. So I basically replaced a cog hammer, but I used it in the times where I would have wanted to play like a naked Peacekeeper. So
Right.
and that way it didn't feel so bad.
Right.
So
I don't know. Well, what else have you guys been seeing on ladder? We kind of talked about aggro druid a little bit.
what about this the aggro shaman? Have you guys run into that at all?
I got a buddy at work that really likes shaman, so go on.
All right,
I've
so I'll have to find the list real quick, but this was also a Reynad deck. Let's see. Let me find it.
So while he's finding that,
Yeah, Trog Neck Face Shaman.
Oh, we found it? Okay.
It's called. So it's based off of the Tunnel Trog, and if you guys don't remember this card, it's a 1-mana 1/3. When you overload, gain +1 attack per locked mana crystal, and that doesn't say per turn. This is basically a mana worm for Shaman. So basically, the dream is to go turn 1 Tunnel Trog into turn 2 Totem Golem. Yeah.
Right.
So, but the deck list, it's all gas. It's 2 Lightning Bolt, 2 Rockbiter Weapon, 2 Tunnel Trogs, 2 Crackle, 2 Totem Golem, 2 Whirling Zap-O-Matic, 2 Lava Burst, 2 Power Mace, 2 Unbound Elemental, which is the only card in this list I don't really like.
Let's
because
talk about that, but keep going. Yeah.
it's slow. 2 Doom Hammers, and then the neutral minions are 2 Cogmaster, 2 Leper Gnome, 2 Annoyatron, 2 Mech Warper, and 2 Spider Tank. So it's basically the old Shaman Mech Shell minus any top end and add in burn spells and Tunnel Trog.
Mm-hmm.
2
Yeah.
Doomhammer.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, not because you need 2 Doomhammers, but because
So you
you
get
always
one. Yeah.
so you always have a Doomhammer on turn 5 is the idea.
Wow.
So I played around with right when Tunnel Trog came out, like the day it came out, I quickly built that and I played a couple games against one of my viewers, Harrison, and we just kind of battled back and forth and tested it a little bit. And I had almost the same list and I was pretty sold on it, but it still suffers from the same problem that Shaman suffers from. It's a Shaman deck. Like its hero power doesn't do anything. Like,
Yeah.
if you gave me the mage hero power, maybe I would be happy with it. I'd be like, okay, cool, I can ping sometimes, or I can play a little board position game here and there. But the problem is that outside of Lightning Bolt and the occasional Crackle plus put something else on turn 4 out, it's hard for you to maintain your board position in the early game. And so it's just, and that's what that tempo style of deck wants to do. It wants to put out its Mana Worm, and then it wants to answer the next couple threats. Luckily, it has Totem Golem that helps it with that early game plan. But I just don't feel like I feel like it's missing too many pieces to make it amazing. And that piece that it's really missing is a good hero power right now. I hate to say it, but it's true.
Let's derail just slightly.
Yeah.
Obviously, it would be better if this happened. Would it be overpowered if the shaman hero power was pick a totem and you click the hero power and like a discover mechanic kind of popped up and you had 4 options?
Yes, it would be very
busted.
Okay, that would be busted. Okay.
Because you basically get the option
All right.
of Paladin's hero power or the option of 3 other options.
Oh, I hear that too.
I like that idea though, because so right now the problem with Shaman is it's really, really bad.
Yeah.
That would make, I feel like that would make it, that having an overpowered hero power would
Warlock has an overpowered hero power.
Yeah, exactly. So
Yeah.
having the second best hero power in the game, I feel like would overcome all of the negative aspects of Shaman, like the overload mechanic.
Right. I really like that
Overload sucks. Overload's not a good mechanic. The problem
it
is
really isn't that great.
Yeah.
Even like it's good on the cards that it's good on, but on the cards that it's bad on, like take for instance the wolf. I know we've discussed this before, so I'm probably repeating myself. But you have the what's the 3 mana summon 2 wolves?
Yeah.
The wolves are 2/3s, so basically the spell cost and it overloads you for 2, so you're paying 5 mana for 2 2/3s with taunt.
Yeah.
So those trade with every 3/4 in the game, which are now that a 3/4 spider tank is 3 mana. So you're paying 5 mana for something that trades with 3 mana,
Now,
which doesn't.
And to play devil's advocate, that's only because of power creep. Because back in vanilla, everybody played Feral Spirit. Everybody played that card.
Right, but
I think when
every other class has gotten cards that is
true.
Better, and Shaman just
we've only gotten one, in my opinion.
Every time it gets a good card, they have to tack overload on it, so that makes it worse.
Well, it's like Fireguard Destroyer. I don't even know if it needs overload. Like now, thankfully, it's only 1 overload, so I feel like that's a good card to play if you're trying to get overload to buff some cards. But like okay, Totem Golem. That card needs overload. Let's be honest.
Yeah, sure.
That's an amazing
card.
Yeah. But that's kind of it. That's the only card where I'm like, I'm looking through them right now. I'm trying to.
I think Lightning Bolt's fine to have overload.
Yeah. Okay.
On.
Yeah. That
Lightning Bolt, like Lightning Storm, probably shouldn't have overload.
No, because it's so random. It's already bad because of it.
Yeah.
I mean, I could see Overload 1.
Overload 1 would be perfect on that card.
Yeah, because then it's basically a consecration.
Yeah.
Wait, so Lightning... I've never played Shaman besides the mech version. So Lightning Storm is Overload 2?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
And that was another card that was like, oh, Lightning Storm is one of the best board clears in the game.
Back when everyone was playing Zoo.
Yeah. I don't know.
It sucks too that like Elemental Destruction is Overload 5. So it looks like this great card.
Yeah.
It's like this 3 mana deal 4 to 5 damage to all minions, and you're like, yes, this is amazing. And then you overload it for 5, and you're like, oh, this is just a bad twisting nether.
Right.
Got it.
Or
you know, like
that, and it does it to all minions. That's
Yeah,
what I
exactly.
really hate about that card, because it's like, all right, so I'm paying 3 mana, I'm overloading for 5, and I'm killing everything. So I'm giving up my next turn, you know, depending on when you play it, and killing everything I put on the board.
The one upside to it is on turn 8, you can play it and then play 5 mana worth of other things. So you could play your Fire Guard Destroyer after that.
Yeah.
So it does have upside. It's just that it's exactly like you said. It's that turn after you do that it does nothing.
Yeah, you just play that in Fire Guard, and the next turn you just like, pass.
Yeah, I'll put out a totem.
Or
go.
play those 2 wisps you had in your deck. I don't know. Shaman needs some work.
Yeah,
Really,
Shaman
really
just needs a
bad.
complete overload.
Got him. Oh man, the puns are real today. You know, but then they come out like Flame Tongue Totem. They have some really strong cards. But
Yeah,
it's just not enough.
you know who else has? Since I've started playing Hearthstone, I've kind of always compared Shaman to Paladin, because it kind of does a lot of the same things. Shaman has always just been a less good version of Paladin.
I buy that.
In my opinion, everything that Shaman wants to do is what Paladin already does really well. So if you're playing a mid-range Paladin, or if you're playing a mid-range Shaman deck, why wouldn't you just be playing a mid-range Pally deck instead?
I just want it to work. I think I actually have more ranked wins on my Shaman than any other class.
What?
I think I do. I'm fairly confident. I have to look it up. I played a lot of Shaman back even before Nax.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I'm level 56 with them, and I haven't played Shaman in a long time.
Wait, so how many wins do you have with it in ranked?
I'd have to go look at it. I actually have to build a Shaman deck to find out.
If you're level 56, I'm gonna guess you have like 200 wins.
That might be right. I'm just gonna
150 is my guess, actually.
I guess it depends on how often you play ranked.
Let me see how many I have. I have 34 with Shaman. I didn't even realize it, but I'm level 60 with my other classes, but I'm level 34 with Shaman. I just never tried to achieve that ranking. What happens if you get 60 with all? Do you get any sort of bonus? Does anyone know?
I think you get some
gold or something.
It might be one of those hidden quests. Yeah.
I don't know. Okay, no, I have 165 wins with Shaman.
I was off,
but I have not. Yeah, I see Paladin. I've gone up quite a bit. I'm like 218 with Paladin now. Yeah, I for a long time Shaman was like head over heels the most I had wins with.
Yeah, the only level 60 I have is Hunter. Second is Paladin at 50. Third is Warlock. Surprisingly, I have more wins with Shaman than I have with Priest, Rogue, Warrior. That's it. So,
do you ever play Rogue though?
No, I don't play Rogue at all.
Yeah.
I play Rogue once every 2 or 3 months, like a super aggressive Rogue will come out, and I'll play that for a couple of days, and then I don't play it anymore, because I don't know, like,
you just feel like a bad person, right?
When I play Rogue, or when I play Hearthstone, I kind of do it to turn my brain off. And so if I'm having to count that far ahead, you know, I don't like it. I like to play mid-range decks where basically you can ignore the last turn. You look at your hand. What's the most valuable trades that I have? What's the most valuable way to spend my mana that I have? And that's what you do.
That's funny, because I would say the class that I enjoy playing the most is Rogue, because I don't turn my brain off. I love the complex puzzles that it presents to you.
Well,
with
you
Rogue,
have to play.
Where it's like, all right, we have to do something crazy, you know. So
you have to play a lot. I don't. So
well, sure,
that's the difference.
I do play a lot. That's true. But like I think if it were to fall back on the very beginning of me playing Hearthstone, the first thing that I did was I built an oil rogue deck. I take that back. I built Face Hunter because I could build Face Hunter for like 100 dust with how many cards I basically had Face Hunter minus Leroy Jenkins in no time. But then the first build I actually did after that was Oil Rogue because I knew it looked fun and I enjoyed that style of play specifically.
The first thing I did when I started playing was built Undertaker Hunter.
Oh, you are off the show. It's gross. I gotta go take a shower.
Well, and people talk bad about that deck, and
for a good reason.
Yeah, I understand. Undertaker was overpowered, but like, it's not as the deck was actually a lot more mid-rangey than a lot of the decks are now.
It was just how like, and we've talked about it before. I hate how Blizzard just nerfs cards into the floor, and I wish that this card had stayed a 1/3. Keep everything the same. Just give it one more health. Yeah, it'd be super.
It'd be Mana
Worm. Yeah. I can understand. No, really, it's harder to play Death Rattle minions than it is to play spells. So I don't think it's, in my opinion anyway. I don't. Class cards have an inherent advantage over neutral cards. Totally get it. So you want them underpowered, but
even if you had made Undertaker a 1/1 that grows, because that would have made it trade on turn 2.
Yeah, that would have made it. Yeah.
Because it would have. The problem was it didn't. The reason it got nerfed is because it doesn't trade on turn 2.
Right.
It destroys.
That still would have punished the really slow decks because they still would have had to gotten rid of it. Yeah, that would have been fair too.
And it still dies to Dark Bomb on turn 3.
Right.
So
yeah,
make it a 1/1 that grows.
Yeah.
And for all my Magic buddies out there, it was Tarmogoyf.
It basically is Tarmogoyf.
I wish I could go into like the Hearthstone team meetings and just kind of like not sit there, but sit there and yell like, "Why did you do this?
Yeah,
explain to me." Play back the tapes. Why was this discussed? Or like Patron Warrior. We've talked about that. Warsong needed a nerf, but did it need this big of a nerf?
Yeah.
What's going on? There's something that we don't know. And so, we're talking about Patron Warrior. My thought was, well, maybe there's something coming out in the future that we don't know about yet.
Right.
It's going to be overpowered. I thought that was the same way with Undertaker. Has not been the case.
Yeah,
that's true.
So, like, even if you kept it, like you said, Jeremy, a 1/1 that grows. I mean, what are you playing? Leper Gnomes, and I'm looking.
I mean, I don't think you played. I don't think you play it in Hunter at that point, but it would make Zoo good again.
Right. I mean, well, thinking about that. Okay, so I'm gonna play a really fast, aggressive deck, and so I'm gonna put. I want to play that out and then coin a Leper Gnome, or play that and coin out a Zombie Chow. Why am I coining out a Zombie Chow if I'm playing an aggro deck?
Yeah. Well, you could coin out what's the 1/2 mech guy?
Oh yeah.
Or 2/1 mech guy.
That's true. Yeah.
Oh, Clockwork Gnome.
Clockwork Gnome. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Because that hadn't been out yet. Yeah.
Then, like I said, that's not like.
But even then, is that do you play that turn 1 and then turn 2 coin out Zombie Chow, Leper Gnome, and that? Is that overpowered at that point?
Not if it's a 1/1. No.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
So what is it? It's a 4/4 at that point on turn. So you go in
on a God draw.
With a God draw, you have a 4/4 and a bunch of minions. I guess that forces people to play board clears. I don't know.
Well, with Secret Keeper, I've got to show you guys a picture at some point. I took a screenshot. I had 2, 4, 5 Secret Keepers on turn 2 because he played like he went Secret Keeper on turn 1. I went coin Secret Keeper, and then he played 2 secrets on his turn 2 and went face. Because he thought, like, oh, well, I'll just race. Because he's throwing out, like, Noble Sacrifice and Avenge.
Yeah.
And so then I throw out, like, noble sacrifice, avenge, and I don't attack, and I pass turn, and he's like, okay, I lose.
Oh, that's
Oh,
funny.
So that was fun.
I like situations like that. That's what makes this game a lot of fun. That's funny.
One of my favorite Secret Keeper stories was the spell. What was the spell? Tavern Brawl.
I don't
Do you
what
guys
does it
know what
do?
I'm talking about? Where whenever you
Yeah.
play a spell, it
get a
summons a
minion.
minion with the
Yeah.
same.
Oh, right.
I don't remember what it was called, but I remember.
All right, so I was basically playing Secret Pally, like in that, and I was playing all of the one mana dude, and so like I put a secret out, and it spawned Secret Keeper, and then I coined another secret, and it was another Secret Keeper, and then they both like the minion hits the board, and then the spell goes off. So on turn 1, I had a 3/4 and a 2/3 Secret Keeper. It was nice. So
I still
that's turn-
seem to do this all the time now. Whenever I play against Secret Keeper and I'm playing like Hunter or something, I'll just put my secret out and then be like, oh yeah, it pumps his secret or keeper.
Yeah.
Crap.
It's
I do
like,
it all the
oh,
time.
yeah, I forgot
still.
about that.
Hunters do that to me all the time. I've noticed lately. They just
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
completely
just-
forget. And just,
I'm not paying attention a lot of times when I'm playing Hunter too. I'm just like, okay, do this, and I'm done. And then I'm
Did
like,
it.
oh yeah, that's right. I have to actually think.
Did you guys know that the what's the bow? Iron bow.
Eagle horn bow?
used to trigger off your opponent's secrets
Yes.
as well.
yeah, that was dirty. It was
So-
Yeah, that's
dirty.
pretty powerful right there.
I love.
So you'd play Eagle Horn Bow, attack, trigger your Eagle Horn Bow.
Yeah,
That's fun.
yeah.
That's crazy. Like nice nobles. And actually, nowadays, you want to talk about secret paladin killers? That would be a secret paladin.
See,
killer.
and that's
Yeah,
what I
it would.
mean. There's answers right there. You know.
Right.
You know, I
Mm.
bring this up a lot. Well, you
Oh my
go first.
God.
Go for it.
No, I was gonna say that blows. Yeah, that's like you get a 3 mana attack once, and you have like a 4 or a 3/4,
Right.
3/5 weapon.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right,
Infinite weapons from there on out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
make it happen.
It's like when they nerfed Milk Rogue way back when, and that was before Goblins versus Gnomes came out. So I know
Right.
why they did it, but it's just we finally have answers to that deck, and we can't play them.
Yeah,
Right.
it's like Mad Bot. What was the 5 mana 3/3 that when you the battle cries deal 4 damage to a random enemy
Oh,
minion?
Lobber?
Yeah, Bomb Lobber.
Bomb Lobber. Yeah. So
Yeah.
that card was really good.
Yeah, okay.
They introduced that.
Hide it. It doesn't matter. I'm gonna kill it. Yeah,
Right.
yeah. So sad. I don't know. Blizzard, stop doing that, please.
Yeah.
Of course, I feel at the same time. I'm like, no, fix it. Fix this damn game. Nerf patron.
I actually think that the meta is really stable right now,
It
which is
really
good.
is. Yeah.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
I like the meta right now.
I mean, thinking about how many decks are, how many playable, stable, like, so I'm, I don't. It feels kind of weird asking this question because I feel like this game does reward people who are very creative and are good deck builders. But if you go
Yeah,
out
deck
on-
building is definitely an advantage in this game.
yeah. But think, all right, you go out to Hearthstone or something, and you're just looking for decks to build. How many different deck archetypes are there? Or
Yeah, there's quite a few floating around right now, which I think we're finally at a point where I would say there's a healthy number of decks to play right now.
Mhm.
But it always gets back to my initial dilemma with this game, which is that we don't have rotation. Like at some point, you gotta rotate out certain number of decks and cut down on cards. Like at some point, we need to get rid of classic cards, or we need to get rid
I
of
hate that
TGT,
idea.
or we need to get rid of. Yeah,
Well,
I
I
mean,
don't think
I understand that it sucks to reduce the amount of cards, and I understand that 100%. But I'm like, at some point, Secret Paladin it'll be 2 years from now, and we'll be talking about how Secret Paladin's still good. And the problem there is that players who have played for 2 years will lose interest. And the way you maintain longevity in a game like this, in my opinion, is to create circumstances where the old players are seeing something new while the new players are also seeing something new, which is, I think, one elegant solution, and maybe not the most desired solution, but one solution is a rotation system. But
yeah. I think the way that you could do that is rotate out the last 2 expansions and the last 2 like you just play, basically you have standard and legacy.
Yeah.
And in standard you play the last 2 releases, like the last 2 adventures and the last 2 sets.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
And then the oldest set. So right now would be Vanilla. The first. Right now, Nax would rotate out.
Right, and the good thing with having 2 options, so like let's say they have like another option pop up, and one is play with every card, and one is play with the last 2 years. The good thing about that is you'll still be able to play your decks like your mech mages that would otherwise rotate out. So it doesn't cut the game off. You know, people are still going to be able to play those decks if it's their favorite deck. So you don't lose that.
You just play it in a different format.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you suggesting then that vanilla never leaves? I almost like wonder if you can take vanilla.
I don't like the idea of getting rid of vanilla.
Or is it just your expansions that you take out?
I think you just get rid of the expansions.
Okay.
So you're saying keep all the basic cards and keep all the classic cards then? Is that what you're saying?
Okay. Basic and classic. Maybe every once in a while they introduce like new basic cards or something. But my idea would be, because I think that a lot of the way that the classes are intended to work are just tied so heavily into their class cards and the basic cards that if you remove that, you kind of mess up Hearthstone's identity as a game.
Yeah.
But I think like if the next set that so they introduced the new adventure. So then Nax, the oldest adventure, rotates out. And then the next time that they introduce a new adventure, like Blackrock Mountain, goes out. And the same with the larger like card releases. So when they release the next expansion, Goblins versus Gnomes rotates out. So you constantly have like an influx and a fading of old sets. So the meta basically changes every 6 months.
That would change, I think, quite a bit.
I think that because right now you see the meta change every 6 months, but you only see it change barely, because no deck, like Brad was saying, no deck ever leaves. You know, a year from now, we're still going to say, well, you can still play Secret Pally, just like you can say right now, well, you can still play Mech Mage if you want to. Like, it's not.
And I'm going to bring up something that you guys might not be happy with. So if we take out Nax, we're getting rid of Hana Creepers, Mad Scientists, Sledge Belchers, Zombie Chows. That really would change the game quite a bit. That's a lot of decks that would change.
And that's the thing, is you don't get rid of those. Those cards still exist.
Yeah.
But you have 2 formats. You have Legacy.
Yeah.
And at that point, you can also unnerf like Leroy. You can unnerf Undertaker, because you don't have to worry about it affecting whatever the most popular format is. So the most popular format is going to be whatever people play on the ladder.
I don't think they do that, but I follow what you're saying, though.
So I think they need to at some point, because how else do you manage power creep?
Yeah.
Because like we were talking about, Leroy, like you could unnerf certain cards, because in that older format, all the cards are going to be more powerful, and it's going to create this these decks that are only going to have cards that maybe go up to 4 or even 5 mana. And at some point, they're just going to be like, okay, I want to always be able to do something as quickly as possible. Right. And eventually you'll get to that. But then it also allows the new format to be slower. So if they want to be like, okay, we don't want a tempo only format, or we don't want an all aggro format, or we don't want all secret paladin or all face hunter, all mid range hunter, they're able to design in a way that says, okay, we're not going to give anyone good 2-drops. This game currently everyone has great 2-drops. Yeah. Every single deck has a good 2-drop.
Yeah.
And if all of a sudden it says no good 2-drops for anybody, then the game changes dramatically, and the way that we have to play changes dramatically.
Yeah, and Face Hunter goes away.
Yeah.
Well, if you keep the classic and basic cards, Face Hunter.
Well, yeah, Face Hunter doesn't go away, but like you lose.
Freeze Mage loses quite a bit.
Yeah, Freeze Mage does lose a lot. They lose a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just think that would make the game interesting, and it wouldn't. I'm not saying take the cards out of the game. I'm saying
no, definitely
make a different mode. Yeah, I follow. Just like Magic. Yeah.
Yeah, there'd be a Type 1 gameplay, and Type 1 gameplay would be all the cards. Type 2 gameplay would be all the cards minus, Noxramas, Goblins versus Gnomes. Type 3 would be all the cards minus Noxramas, Goblins versus Gnomes, Blackrock Mountain, Grand Tournament, then all the new expansions are added to Type 3. And it just keeps doing that, and that way you can continually play different and dynamic things.
I would like that.
Yeah, so right now, when you open the main page, you have Play, Solo Adventures, Arena, Tavern Brawl. If you click on Play, and then up at the top it had Casual, Ranked, and, for lack of a better term, Legacy.
Right.
And Legacy would just be every card that's ever been printed is allowed.
I wonder if they should just make Casual that. Just make Casual Legacy and make Ranked this new format that we're discussing.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
I think that would destroy Casual, although Tavern Brawl is kind of filling in where Casual previously filled in.
Right.
So I'm afraid that if you do that, Casual becomes
then you don't have a place to play test.
Well,
then you don't have a place.
Yeah.
The thing with Casual, I find, is it's not people. Well, when I have played it, I don't play it anymore. It was just people playing, the best ladder decks just to grind out gold.
Yeah, it's just play. It's that and play testing is what it is.
I mean, and that's why I don't play Casuals, because I wish it was more play testing. But it just, in my experience, I wasn't getting that. I was just getting a bunch of people, trying to just grind up. So if I'm gonna play hard decks, I'm just gonna play ranked.
Yeah, you might as well get the ranked wins.
Right.
So.
I don't know.
The only time I ever play Casual is when I have a quest that I'm not comfortable with.
Sure.
It's with a class that I don't play often.
Like a rogue one? Oh yeah, I feel that. Yeah. I don't play a lot of rogue either. I want to. I don't.
Yeah.
Speaking of rogue, there's a card I wanted to talk about today.
Let's do it.
Is it Raptor?
It's Raptor. Dino
yes. Raptor. I'm glad you brought that up. I completely forgot. They fixed something, didn't they?
Yeah, so apparently it crashed the servers or crashed people's clients. One of the two. I'm not 100% sure.
I saw. I think it was Disguised
because it had
a video.
Yeah, because it had way too many death rattle effects on it. I saw a video and it was hysterical. It was 30 minutes of Death Raptors.
That's what I watched. Yep.
So funny. And then the ending is hilarious because he had played like Murloc, or he played Cold Light Oracles as well. And so he was able to, after 30 minutes of these death rattle triggers going off, it just mills and mills and mills and mills and really takes damage. It's just so funny. Great video. Totally worth the watch.
Disguised Toast is awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, it puts out good content. It's fun. Yeah. But yeah, I really like the card on top of its craziness that's happened. We talked about on the Happy Hearthstone yesterday. They changed it so now it can only hold up to 16 death rattle effects is apparently what it's what the change is happening.
Which is so many.
It's still a lot. Yes.
In a normal game, how's that going to happen?
Did you guys see the all right, so the guy played he played, is it Brian, the one that copies Battlecry?
Yeah.
All right, so he played, he had an Emperor Thor sand down, and so he had all the cards in his hand were like a mana cheaper. Then he plays Leper Gnome, and then he plays a Raptor, and then he plays another Raptor, so copies that. And then he shadow steps the first Raptor, copies the Raptor, shadow steps the Raptor, plays the other raptor. So basically it's stacked like doubled
Whoa.
4 times. So it goes 2, 4, 8, 12, 24. But like you said, I think it tops out at 16 or whatever. And then he eviscerates the raptor that has death rattle, deal 2 damage 16 times. and then it's just, and then like the rope is happening at this point, and it's just ticking down 2 damage at a time. This guy's at like, 17 health, and it takes him down to 0 and negative. And it's just really, really funny. And I was like, wow, it's a stupid deck, but it's really, really fun. It makes a good trolled-in video,
Right.
Now all they need is Baron Rivendare for the true wombo combo.
Yeah, exactly.
Triggered twice as many times.
So now it's like, what, 32?
Yeah.
So it's just like tick, tick,
Gross.
tick. And it makes you really, really thankful that they allowed like you to concede now in the middle of animations.
Oh my gosh, yeah, you would literally be there for 20 minutes.
Just like, wow, I hate this so much.
You just exit out of the client because you're like, I don't want to watch this. Come back 20 minutes later, it's still going on. You're like, damn it, I can't play it.
Yeah, it's like reconnecting you to your previous game. Death rattle, death rattle, death rattle, death rattle. That's funny.
I really do like Unearthed Raptor as a card to play, though. I think that there's going to be something for that card very soon. I think the card's really powerful, and I'm looking to play with it. What do you guys think about it? I know it's a rogue card, and so it does lose a little bit of there's no real good death rattle themed rogue deck, so it kind of fits into a new realm, and so I think it has some potential. I don't know. What do you guys think?
I want to see it. Yeah, I do want to see it become a staple, I guess is the right word. Not just, oh yeah, we play it, but kind of a linchpin in a deck. Right now, I just, this game right now, I feel like is so wrapped around playing cards that have value inherently on their own. Wrapped around. Oh man, we're a 3 tonight. That's awesome.
Brought to you by Knob Creek.
And I haven't even made a pun yet tonight.
Oh man.
Yeah,
not even the one doing it.
Happens a lot more.
Yeah.
I guess so.
I just want it to be more of a linchpin. I want it to
yeah, and it'd be nice for Rogue to have a new deck as well.
Yeah, not just Oil Rogue / Miracle Rogue or whatever.
Yeah, and the card that naturally I think it fits really well with is Nerubian Egg. Fits really, really well with Nerubian Egg because no one wants to kill your Nerubian Egg, and then you go into your
and then you make another Nerubian Egg.
Yeah, and so if you're getting a 3-mana 3/4 that when it dies spits out a 4/4, that's where I would put the card at powerful at that point. At that point that card's very powerful. But it's just it's going to be hard to find the right build for that, but and get it just perfectly tuned for what it needs and have enough death rattle effects to make it good. But even if we don't find that at first, let's say no one quite finishes up a perfect build yet. As we move forward, as death rattle gets more printing of cards, I think that card gets even better because as you can fit more death rattle things in it, the card has more synergy, and being able to find more cards to create more synergy makes the card even better.
It makes me wish the card was a 2-mana 1/2 or something instead, because the body of the card doesn't. The body of the card doesn't mean anything.
Doesn't really matter, right? It's more the effect. Yeah.
Yeah, and if it costs less mana, you'd be able to get almost certainly guarantee that it will get its ability.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think because it's a 3/4 though for 3, it's still serviceable as a threat. So it still seems like it's gonna be solid either way.
Yeah, I like the card a lot. I think it does show promise, but I think it is one of those cards that we won't fully realize its potential until 6 months from now, a year from now. Until
it just doesn't feel
keep
like
releasing cards.
Yeah. It's just there's not enough pieces, it feels like, yet. But I don't know. Maybe somebody comes up with a solid enough build to finish it up, make it good.
Right. I don't know. Well,
maybe I'll double or copy my zombie chow with it, so I can let my opponent gain 10 life.
Yeah.
Well, you burgled Arcanine Soul Priest. So.
I'm about to say that's exactly what that is. Like,
oh, okay.
Like somehow that you get that off of in a priest deck, then it would be.
Yeah.
What we need Disguised Toast to do copy, like boom bots and just keep blowing up boom bots to the face and kill your opponent, and then another one copying zombie chows, and then just heals your opponent all the way back up to like
video,
to go back up to 30 and then pass the turn.
Have you guys been playing Bronzebeard at all? Speaking of that,
I haven't either. Brad, you said you've been playing Milrogue. I assume it's in there.
Yes, it is. It's incredible in Milrogue. One of the things about Milrogue is it has a lack of consistency, and so some games you're not going to draw your Cold Light Oracles in time to actually try and present a win, because even when you draw your Cold Light Oracles, you're not trying to win the game that turn. You're just trying to start then setting up for winning the game. But with a Brand Bronzebeard, in those games where you don't draw your Cold Light Oracle in time, sometimes you're going to win games where you otherwise would have had no chance to win, because you can put the Brawn down and mill your opponent for an exuberant amount. Something like 16 is generally what you're trying to mill your opponent for the turn that you do the combination. God. Yeah. And that's with 10 mana and coin if you've managed to save. So like there's ways to set that up, and you can definitely do it. It's just it's gonna be hard, but it helps give it more of a win condition.
And I like that, because it's kind of like the Druid combo deck at that point, where you've got the combo in your hand now. You got Brand and Cold Light.
Right.
I'm not one of those people. Like, I'm not gonna say I hate mill decks. Like, they don't bother me. I actually really like playing against them, because I feel like there's a lot of mind games that go on there. It's a lot of, you want me to clear the board, but what do you have in your hand that would clear my board if I just throw a bunch of stuff on the board? There's a lot of mind games going on there. I really, really like playing against them.
I think the decks, they're fun to play against. I think that they're fun to play, but I really hope they never get good, because I know Blizzard will just nerf them.
Yeah, it still is a combo deck. I really like it because it attacks from a different angle, and it's just you can create a victory in a different way, and that's kind of cool. And that's kind of why I think people are going to like Elise moving forward, the one that gives you the golden monkey, and then once you find the golden monkey, of all these legendaries. So it's kind of like a different way to approach winning the game, and that's neat. That's
Do you think kind of cool. Do you think that Blizzard will ever introduce alternate win conditions? So like in Magic, there's stuff like poison. There's stuff
that
like
would be a fun mechanic to have poison.
There are cards in Magic that basically say if this lives for X number of turns, you win the game. So then it becomes like one of the boss fights in the solo adventures, where you were trying to kill your opponent. Now you're just trying to stop them from doing this thing. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. It seems like a really, really interesting way to take Hearthstone. I think it's against what Hearthstone's trying to do, so I don't think it'll ever be a thing. But I think it would be really cool if it was.
The only way I feel like it might happen is if we had, let's say, a weapon that's like a 1/6. And it says, if you attack with this weapon 6 times, you win the game. But it can't be like a Death Rattle ability. If it's a Death Rattle ability, people Acidic Swamp ooze it, or like you'll figure out a way to like abuse that. But if you have a way to specifically say, hey, if you use this for 6 turns, you win the game. And so then it's like, or maybe like 110 weapon or something. And just creating a whole different way to win the game is really interesting. And I think the only way to really stick with what we already have with Hearthstone and not break what Hearthstone's trying to do is something with a weapon or something along those lines. I'm not really sure how to do that, but it seems like that might be the way.
That could be something it's overpowered in a sense that it's another way to win the game, but it's easily counterable with 3 cards basically.
Yeah.
So it's
An-
not overpowered at the same sense. It just depends on what you build, I guess.
mhm. Another option might be like a secret for warrior that costs 5 mana that says if you've used a weapon 8 times this game, you win the game or something.
Oh yeah,
You know?
yeah.
I
But
like
that's awkward because secrets trigger on the opposite turn. But anyway.
it's kind of funny to me though, because if you think about it, Hearthstone is geared towards a casual crowd. The further we get into this game, the more we kind of realize, or the more I have started to realize that it's not, the game's fun, but it's not being designed. It's not currently being designed for me, which is fine. I still have fun with it either way. But so Hearthstone is kind of torn between two places. Like on one side, it has, the World Championship, where I don't know if you guys heard this. It's upping the prize pool this year to $1 million.
Nice.
Yeah.
From what was it, 250,000. So, so they obviously want to support the competitive side of Hearthstone, but at the same time, all of the cards that they design are casual, but they have to be so casual that they're not good in competitive, because if you make a card that was meant to be casual but winds up being really good, then you have to nerf that card. So like Patron Warrior, I feel like was a card that's originally designed to be like, all right, this is going to be a fun card, because that's the way people talked about it when they reviewed it. They were like, oh, this will be cute. Sometimes you can make this happen. It'll be really good. But when they realized, oh, it's part of the most consistent deck that Hearthstone has ever seen, they immediately have to nerf the deck. They immediately have to nerf the card that makes the deck work. So Hearthstone's in this really, really weird position where you want to attract casual players with these interesting cards, but you can't make these interesting cards good because it affects competitive play, which is what brings new players in. Like people see Austkaka, who, the average player had not heard of up until this year. It's kind of the same story that Firebat had, which is he's just this guy that plays Hearthstone. And oh, by the way, now he just won, $250,000. And they think, well, that could be me. And that's what they're going with giving points to everyone who hits Legend now, is they want to make it more attainable. They want to keep the dream alive, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But they're limited by the number one, the fact that we talked about this, they can't rotate cards out currently in their system, and they can't create cards that are fun and competitive. They have to create one or the other.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's a shame that they don't focus more on that crowd. I think Magic has a similar issue where they'd like to focus more on a casual crowd because they recognize that is, that's going to be the majority. But the downside is if you focus only on the casual crowd, you're not going to see the same growth, because it's the non-casual crowd that creates the fan base and creates the
Magic has the advantage that where it makes all of its money is pre-releases and basically Hearthstone's version of Fireside Gatherings. Magic makes a ton of money off of when they first release a set, because all these players come in and they buy all the cards. But then there's the secondary market, so anyone who plays Magic competitively just picks up all the cards on the secondary market, and they don't have to worry about like busting packs and opening cards, where in Hearthstone that's the only way to get cards, with the exception of crafting.
Yeah, so the competitive team or the competitive group of people also have to be invested in the game then.
Right, exactly.
By supporting the original Blizzard content. Yeah.
Right. So
it's interesting.
Yeah, so Hearthstone is in, like I said, it's just in a weird spot where it wants to create fun cards, but the fun cards can't be good enough to see play. Otherwise, they have to nerf those cards.
Right.
Yeah.
I'd like to see it, I think of like MOBAs, where in my opinion, in the time that I've spent playing MOBAs, like Dota's like your hardcore, League of Legends is right in the middle, like there's a little bit of both, and then Heroes of the Storm's kind of more casual. Not saying that Heroes of Storm's like, kitty MOBA or anything like that.
Right.
It's not. It's obviously competitive, but just comparing them all, I feel like even League is more difficult. Requires more skill to play than Heroes does.
Yeah.
I want Hearthstone to be that as well, and I feel like Hearthstone's probably one of the simplest maybe card games to play right now.
Yeah, because right now you basically have Magic and you have Hearthstone. Those are the two. Probably I would say those are the most widely known, like
Widely known. I think that's fair.
competitive
A
card
lot of
games.
people play Pokemon and
Yeah.
Yu-Gi-Oh and those
Right,
kinds of
yeah,
deals,
but that's
widely
that's
known. Yeah,
more
I
of a
think you're right.
so
Yeah.
but they're on such opposite ends of the spectrum, and that gap keeps widening. And not because Magic is changing stuff, it's because Hearthstone is changing stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I mean,
And it's a shame because I love both games.
Right.
I think they're both amazingly designed for the most part. But where Hearthstone lacks, it seems like Magic is accelerating in, and where Magic lacks, it seems like Hearthstone is accelerating in. And so, as you said, they're going in different directions in the way that they're approaching the game, or they're approaching turn-based strategy gaming. Mm-hmm. But the downside to that is I feel like they could look at each other and say, how can we become better based on what we're seeing our rival or our competitor doing? And I think they need to work together almost, it feels like.
I think both games are so afraid to copy stuff from the other game just because people will know that they're copying, but I don't think it matters. I think the user base, there's such an overlap,
Yeah.
like
Yeah. Well, and it's two different games. I mean, we've talked about this. Like, Magic Online is a completely different experience than Hearthstone Online.
Drastically different.
Like, wow, there couldn't be any more different,
Yeah, it's Magic Online is not about user friendliness in any way, shape, or form. It's about a medium for people who can continue playing at the same skill set that a competitive player would already play in.
Yeah,
Magic Online may as well be a spreadsheet.
Yeah,
it's basically a spreadsheet.
They should just change it to a spreadsheet, and you just key in because that's what it's the ugliest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah.
It literally looks like it was created in 1998 because it was created in 1998.
I do wonder why they haven't been able to, and maybe it's partly their user base, but
they don't
like the Magic games that are on Steam and stuff, or even the Android tablets. Those are beautiful games. Comparatively,
it's because of two issues. I know this because I'm heavily involved with this particular subject matter, because I would love to be able to stream Magic Online more, but I refuse to because the client is, it's like a spreadsheet. It's not enjoyable for people to watch, and it's not really enjoyable for me to play outside of enjoying the game itself. So the reason that I don't even remember what the initial question was. I got all ranty.
Well, I know what you were going to say. What you were going to say is there's too many card interactions, and you have to program. You have to program each. Whereas Hearthstone has.
Yeah.
With Magic, you've got 20 plus years of card interactions, and you'd have to program
every interaction,
all of those.
Yeah. I remember the first time I played a Commander deck I played against a guy who he goes to national tournaments and stuff. I don't know how good he is, but he's obviously pretty good. And so he's explaining to me how to play, and we get to the end, and we played 2 games, and I just kind of put my cards in. I said, "Thank you," and I just walked away. I said, "I'm done. I'll go back to Hearthstone." It was just
That's funny. That's funny because my username on my Battle.net ID is Flash in Yeva, which is a reference to my Commander deck.
Yeah. Because
it's the only it's the only Magic that I play anymore, which is Elder Skull or Elder Highlander, whatever, Elder Dragon Highlander, whatever it stands
Elder
for.
Dragon Highlander.
Right.
Yeah. So my general is Yeva, and her ability, her things have death rattle. She has Flash, and so my username on is Flash in Yeva, and that's just kind of what I've always gone with since I've started Hearthstone, and it's it's a rip off of a Magic deck.
Yeah.
So getting back to the you mentioned this earlier, Jeremy, about how Hearthstone can learn from Magic and Magic can learn from Hearthstone in ways.
Yeah.
And we talked about that for a split second. I want to talk about how infuriating it is for me as a longtime Magic player to watch the mechanic of Joust show up in the game. Magic had an exact same ability. Okay, it literally is the exact same ability. It was called Clash, and the ability was put into the game. And after it was done, and after that set was done, the developers specifically said, "We'll never use Clash again, ever."
Wow.
Like they said it. They were like, "This is a mechanic that we tried. It turned out to be not as good as we hoped. It wasn't as fun for everybody, and it created a random outcome and circumstances that were not as desirable for the game from like a design perspective." And it's not really infuriating. It's kind of sad just to have seen that play out 10 to 11 years ago in Magic, and then now it's played out in Hearthstone, and we all came to that game
with the same result
earlier.
Yeah,
same result, same exact experience, and it's something that like they don't really want to copy each other, so they named it different. They made it slightly different. It has a slightly different way that it plays out, but in the end, it gives us the same result and the same user experience. And it's something that I feel like had they just had there been somebody on the team at level 5 that said, "Hey, I played Magic for the last 20 years, and I know that this was how this played out. Maybe we should be looking a different direction." And it's a shame that so much resources went into developing that mechanic and developing cards around that mechanic, and then we still got the same result that we would have gotten from Clash with Magic. Yeah. Where had they just looked back and I don't know, just
and what infuriates me even more than that is, I don't know if you guys have seen this video, but it's another Disguised Toast video where he talks about what cards say as opposed to what they actually do.
I watched it this week too. Yeah.
Oh my god!
Oh, it's ridiculous.
And it makes me so angry because Magic, you don't have a computer that makes your deck do what you're intending for it to do. So everything has to be very, very specific. Yeah. That's why when people talk about like, "Oh, I tried to learn Magic, but it's so complicated." It's not complicated. Every card does exactly what it says it does in exactly the order that it says that it does. And so R&D for Magic has to be super on point because cards, the only way for them to, nerf a card is to remove it from the game and say you can't play this anymore. And that's like one card every 2 years that happens to. Yeah. So to see Magic basically just have these things in the game that all you have to do is just go in and change the wording on, and it makes it infinitely more understandable. Like Druid of the Claw, like it's just
that was a good example. Yeah,
it's just so bad, and you just read the cards and you think this doesn't even do close to what it says it does. It makes me so angry.
That one, and for those of you playing at home that don't realize what we're talking about, if you were to silence Druid of the Claw, right? Am I saying that right?
Yeah, the 5 mana 4/6.
Yeah, so if it becomes so it comes down. Usually it's a 4/4. It comes down as a 4/6 with taunt.
Right.
If you silence it, it stays a 4/6. Gets rid of the taunt, but compared to other cards, it should technically lose that 2 extra health.
Yeah, because it says choose one, gain plus,
it doesn't
plus
say
0/2 and taunt.
Right. It doesn't say
so
transform.
So when you silence it, it should lose what it gained.
Right.
But it doesn't lose what it gained. Instead, it only loses a portion of what it gained, which doesn't make any sense.
Right.
Yeah.
It's just like when you coin out this pisses me off more than anything. When you coin out a what's the rogue card that deals 2 damage? The 3 mana 3-drop. 3 3 mana, 3/3.
SI7
Yep,
agent.
there you go. There you
Yeah,
go.
when you coin out an SI7 agent and kill a mirror, or you kill a mad scientist, and it procs into
Yeah.
a mirror entity,
Yeah.
and then the mirror entity copied your SI7
It's
agent.
not supposed to do
That's
that.
impossible.
Right.
You can't trigger. That's reversed. Like you can't.
Because I'm trying to think, because that says, and how it reads, I'm pretty sure you're 100%
Mirror
correct.
entity says, mirror entity says whenever you summon a minion, whenever your opponent summons a minion, you get a copy of that minion.
Right. But so you've summoned a minion, but
You've
the problem
already
is
summoned
you've
the
already
minion.
summoned it. All it reads is combo deal 2 damage. You only get the combo when the card's played.
Yeah,
So
you only
technically it shouldn't be getting the copy, but it does.
So the battle cry of SI7 agent doesn't go off until after the card's
Right.
played, but then the death rattle of Mad Scientist procs putting out a card that then apparently sees like three moves in the past
Right.
and procs itself for no reason.
Now,
like
here's something I want to try. I wonder if you SI7 agent something with death rattle that would do damage to it or kill it, like a unstable ghoul or something. Does it take damage? Like, let's say if it was at 2
I'm going to
health,
assume it doesn't, but I don't know.
right, we don't know because
you're right. If we're following,
you can't read the cards and follow the logic of the cards.
There isn't a rules book
No.
for us to check that.
My thought is just based on how much I've played the game, is it's going to take damage from something like that. But following the logic of the game, like you were saying with the secret, it shouldn't technically be taking damage.
But I don't know until I test it.
Right.
Right. That's the problem with this game sometimes.
And the other thing too is like Warlock. When your hero turns into Lord Jaraxxus, your opponent can kill you with
Sacrificial pack?
Yep, sac pack. But so you can target a demon player, but you can't target a demon player with like buff spells.
Yeah, so Mal'Ganis doesn't affect the hero if you're Jaraxxus, but it should because you're a demon.
Right.
But it doesn't.
Right.
Well,
but you can't. Yeah, it's so weird.
Yeah, one of my most frustrating things that this was the closest to deleting Hearthstone that I've ever been. So I was playing as an aggro pally versus a hunter, and I knew that he had freezing trap. But I only had 1 minion, and I had no cards in hand, and he was at like 2 health or something like that. So I needed to kill him, but I needed to draw cards to do it. So my out was I had what's the Blessing of Wisdom, where whenever a minion attacks, it gains you draw a card, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
1 mana whenever a minion attacks, draw a card. So I have a 1/1 on board, and I'm going to attack him, draw a card, and then hopefully it's Divine Favor, and I get like a True Silver Champion out of it or something like that, to end the game. So I have my 1/1 on the board. I've hit Blessing of Wisdom. I attack. The Freezing Trap procs before the Blessing of Wisdom, which is fine because then the Blessing of Wisdom should also go off because the Blessing of Wisdom says when you attack.
And Freezing Trap also says when you attack, right? So
right,
they
exactly.
both should have triggered.
So they both trigger because I played Magic and I know that both of those things, like the requirement for that Blessing of Wisdom to go off happened. I attacked.
So it's not a stack. It is just they're parallel. They both happen.
Right. Well, okay. And even if it's a stack, one happens and then the other happens, which is fine.
But they both already happened anyway.
They should both happen. The requirement for Blessing of Wisdom says that I have to attack. And I attack.
That way.
Yeah, so I attack, Freezing Trap goes off, Blessing of Wisdom doesn't. Even though I attacked. So Blessing of Wisdom should instead read, when you attack, unless something else has happened, draw a card.
When you attack and make contact, draw a card.
Well, and
does that work with Explosive Trap too? Like, will say the Explosive Trap goes off and then kills your dude.
See, that's the thing. That's the thing.
I would have to assume so.
I know.
Now,
I'm willing to bet if you attacked into an explosive trap, because the explosive trap doesn't. Wait, it doesn't go. No, it goes off before you make contact. You're right.
well, and that's the thing is we're sitting here discussing this as if like we should have to be discussing this when we shouldn't.
Right.
Yeah, we should be able to look at a book that says this is how these things work order-wise, you know, like,
or even if you
these
don't
people are
wanna read a
programmers,
book.
right? They program the game, right?
Even if you don't want to read a book,
they know.
even if you don't want to read a book, you should be able to read the card, and the card should tell you.
You know, and this is a digital game. What's wrong with in the middle of a game putting your mouse or finger on a card and something popping up to the side that says, "Hey, you know, more explanation."
So this is funny. One of the few times I saw a guy playing Arena, and he was playing as Hunter. The rogue had Cut Purse, the 2 mana 2/2. Whenever it attacks, get a coin.
Yeah.
So he had Misdirection up. The guy attacks with Cut Purse, and it gives him a coin. And then Misdirection triggers, redirecting the Cut Purse to the rogue itself. And so he gets another coin.
What?
Wait. Say that one more time.
All right. So let's say I'm playing a rogue and you're playing a hunter. You have Misdirection up. Misdirection says whenever you attack, instead attack. Whenever they attack your face, instead attack something.
Oh.
So I attack with my Cut Purse. I get a coin, and then Misdirection procs, and then it instead sends Cut Purse at me, and I get another coin.
That's crazy.
Wow.
It's the stupidest thing I've ever seen.
Cut Purse specifically says when you deal damage to an opponent, right?
Right, exactly. Well, something like, I don't know exactly what it says.
I'm pretty sure that's what it says. I'm going to look it up right now.
Yeah, me too.
It doesn't say when Misdirection goes off, you get 2 coins instead of 1. That's not what it says. So, I don't know.
Yeah.
Whenever
this minion attacks a hero. So yeah, it would trigger twice because it's when it attacks a hero. That's crazy because then that's the opposite though than what your Freezing Trap Blessing Wisdom discussion point was.
Yeah.
Exactly. Right. So it works entirely the opposite. So one should be correct and the other should be incorrect.
Wow.
But it doesn't work that way.
That's odd.
And it's just stuff they're like, no, we don't have to fix that.
So when you Google the word comprehensive rules, by the way, the first thing that comes up is the comprehensive rules for Magic the Gathering. So to give you perspective on how drastic Magic and Hearthstone have separated themselves from these two debates, is the word comprehensive rule Googled, it finds the Magic comprehensive rules. If you were to search for Hearthstone comprehensive rules, it doesn't even exist.
Right.
It's like the difference between literally the first thing that comes up versus non-existence. So like the two games have taken a drastically different approach in the way that they look at rule setting and manage that. And that's kind of infuriating from a Hearthstone player's perspective.
And what's really crazy about that, the World Championship of Magic offers what, $40,000?
Yep.
Yeah.
I think
the
winner
World
is
Championship of Magic.
40,000.
Yeah, and the winner.
Well, that's not necessarily true because there is Worlds versus Pro Tours in Magic. So I think Worlds is 100,000 now. But yes, it's drastically lower than Hearthstone.
So it's 1/10 of what Hearthstone is now offering for their World Championship, and people still don't know how Hearthstone works.
Right.
Like people have to post videos on YouTube to explain why card interactions happen the way they do,
and it's all tribal knowledge and
it's just it's stuff that if you don't know it, you don't know it. Like if you started this game is geared towards casual players, but casual players can't become better at the game until they learn, and it's going to get worse because they're going to keep introducing more and more cards, which are going to every time they introduce a new set, Disguised Toast puts out a new video that's like, hey, this doesn't work the way you think it does.
Right. Which is sad if it's supposed to be so casual.
Right.
You know what I'd be wondering?
Wow.
Whoa.
Man,
oh my god.
Oh, he came from nowhere.
I've been wondering where the hell the other half of Jeremy's headset is. Like
the other half, it's at the store. The difference for me to buy another earpiece was going to be another like $40. And so I went with the Turtle Beach one ear cover, and it was a grand total of $39.
Turtle
As
Beach, I got
opposed-
F to the A.
Yeah, as opposed
With
to
my
like
investment.
the $80 headset.
So
Turtles are
what's-
endangered. It's hard to get 2 headphones sets from Turtles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
you look,
From sea
you look,
turtles.
you look so different as to what I thought you were going to look like, Jeremy.
Oh,
You
really?
look,
Did you not
yeah.
see the video of me singing?
No, I got the audio. I didn't look at the video, but I'll
You
have
got to see the video,
check out
man.
the
You get to see
can
my
see-
special guest.
Bradford Lee rocking out the Blue Yeti. I can see that.
Yep.
And Mr. Mike looking very relaxed in his chair.
Very relaxed.
Dude, clean up your fucking room, mate. Look at that shit.
Yeah, I know. It's a mess right now.
Or at least adjust the camera so we all can't see.
It's a mess.
Mushu, how are you, buddy?
I'm good. I'm well rested.
Nice.
I went to bed early. I had to get up and do some stuff, but yeah, I am good. I've been playing just a little bit. I've only just been like grinding the pleb deck of playing, mid-range paladin, but other than that, it's just been not doing much. What about you guys? You guys must be pretty far into the cast.
Oh yeah, I think.
Oh yeah, we're 2 hours and 39 minutes.
Yeah, man,
We were waiting for you.
yeah.
Yeah, we were like,
We
where's
didn't,
Mushu?
talk, we didn't talk about any of the good stuff. We waited for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
Well, let's
guys
get
are
started
so cute.
finally.
Yeah.
All right, cool. So we're casting now.
Yeah.
All right.
Welcome to the Death Rattle Crew.
Welcome to the Death Rattle Crew. I'm joined by Mike Hearn. Mike.
Hello.
Did you get a
Bradford
real computer,
Lee.
Jeremy?
I have a real computer set up, but it's not like a good computer, so no.
Guys, he's got a real computer.
Moving on.
I have, if I could take a picture of what this quote unquote real computer is, it's a,
It's a Mac.
it's like a, no,
dude.
it's
So
like a
much hate.
$300 HP.
Oh yeah. That's if you. I've got an ITX build sitting to my right now. Just that I'm going to give to my mummy for Christmas.
To your
Well,
mommy?
To my mummy. Well, because one of my housemates is a big IT dude, and so you walk out into our
Like a fat IT dude, or just like a
PH fat, so fat PH.
The pH fat. Yeah,
that kind of fat.
Yeah.
So you walk out into our living room and there's like 12 fucking like switches and a couple of like routers. It's disgusting. They're everywhere. And in this pile was this like ITX build of like some Dell office computer, and my mum needs a new computer. And I was like, how much for the ITX? And he's like, I'll swap you a carton of beer for it. And the funny thing is, the only beer that he didn't want was Foster's. So
Oh, come on. What is going on with this? Oh.
yeah.
so he's like,
there you
as
go.
long as
my
I get
God.
not Foster's, this ITX build is mine.
So basically what I'm learning is why in the hell would anyone in America drink a beer that the people in the country of origin of this beer don't even drink it?
Yeah.
Monty,
I'm telling
man,
you drop
Ah.
beer altogether and you go
Knob-
this
Knob.
right here.
Knob Creek.
Yes.
You're drinking like penis whiskey. Is that what you're telling me?
What? This is 50% alcohol by volume. Forget
And
your
50% dick.
yeah, absolutely.
For 100% good time.
It's
Knob
100
Creek.
baby. That's how I roll.
Now Knob Creek's good stuff.
Yeah, it is really good.
Yeah.
So did you guys invent some hosting happenings? Because it's been a very dead
We
week
did.
from my perspective.
We've created
Kinds of
actually
stuff.
I don't even know.
We talked about new decks,
Yeah.
which there are actually a couple. We talked about the new Hearthstone World Championship rules. We talked about how much we
There are new-
love your mom.
Oh, dude, I love.
She's a great lady.
She's a
Cheers.
she's a
You really.
Yeah.
Now there are new rules. Holy shit! I've been asleep at the wheel.
Basically, the new, and for our listeners who've been here for the last 2 hours and 43 minutes, we're sorry. We're about to catch Mushu up.
Catch me the fuck up.
So it'll the next one this coming up year, it'll still be Conquest, but it'll be Conquest with 4 decks and a ban. So
Yeah.
And
and then it'll
they're
be a
giving
million.
incentive again.
Yeah, basically, if you hit Legend, you get points. So it's not based on top 100 legend, everyone who hits legend will get points. I don't know. They didn't specify in the article that I read how many points. So I imagine it's like, 1 point or whatever. But
So for all the grinders out there, get all 3 accounts ready.
Yeah, right.
yeah, exactly.
Oh man, that's got to be.
Oh,
brutal.
really? Like, is it one total? So is it? Or is
I mean, I don't. It didn't.
I'm not
it didn't
sure.
say. Yeah, it didn't say how many, or it may have, and I just didn't read because.
So what
I
you're
don't
telling
like
me is I need to dump my
American.
girlfriend and give up my professional dreams of doing anything and just like stick on the Hearthstone grind for the next 14 months.
Yep.
That's
That's
exactly
sweet.
what I'm telling you. Yes. Yeah.
All right, Keely, if you're listening, I'm sorry. You heard the guys.
Rip. Oh man.
She gets to make up a girlfriend name. That was fun.
Dude, did you notice how like seamless it was as well? It's like I didn't even hesitate.
Right. Exactly.
It
I'm
just
gonna have to
came
come up with
out.
a girlfriend name. What would I
Keely.
go?
No one's named Keely.
No one is. Yeah, got him. Did we? Was there any finalization as to the arena challenge, or did we blow that
There
up?
was not. I think we're gonna wait till next week.
Yeah,
What do you
we're
guys think?
gonna. That'll be the main conversation of next week, and it'll be
TBA.
the December
Arena
challenge.
Yeah. I feel like we sort of left it a bit late, but that being said,
It doesn't even matter though. Like even if whoever wins, I did a video and you guys didn't even watch.
I listened.
Mike,
If that
didn't
makes
somebody
sense,
send in about
Yes.
the top 40 duets or something like that? We should talk about that.
Let me pull that up real quick. Thank
Yeah,
you,
sure.
Thank you.
We got an
Uh,
email.
Yes.
So one of the
Our
punishment
tweet.
options was you had to sing a duet for the lowest 2.
Right.
So somebody sent an email into us. You got it, Mike?
Yeah.
Whenever you're ready.
Hang on.
Yeah. And basically, maybe they'll pick the duet for us, or maybe we should pick the duet based off of their options.
It was a Twitter post by Dwight Kello, and he said, two different things. One, I think he watched Jeremy's wonderful song.
Oh yes.
And he said, just wow, 3 minutes of my life I can never get back.
Yeah, I told a buddy of mine who watched it. I was like, I feel like I owe you money now.
Right.
Yeah, take this. Get yourself cleaned up.
Right. But then the very next thing he said, the 40 biggest duets of all time, Billboard.com article list, and it says go with number 1. So there's just 40 fantastic, hilarious. Just thank you, Dwight. Thank you so much. This was
a Dwight.
This is
Dwight. Oh my God, he got it. That's 4. Oh man, we are on a roll tonight.
Since you've been
Dwight
gone, Mushu,
Schrute.
we've had quite the punny show.
It's been a quite funny show.
I just noticed that Jeremy's wearing the same shirt in this video that he's right now.
Oh no, I'm not. Hold on. Watch.
He's gonna change right now.
No, this is the shirt that I was wearing in the video. It's purple as opposed to white. I buy these at Target. They're Morona apparently is the brand, and I literally have like 19 different ones because
You mean
it's
19
what I
of the
wear.
exact same T-shirt?
It's the exact same cut, and it's just tons of different colors. Like that is my closet of button-ups that I wear. I just wear these to work, and I have too many of them.
I feel like he's doing that video of the guy that says, "Here in my garage." What's that guy? Here in my closet. Oh man.
Yeah. So I
So anyway,
basically
what is the top duet now? I'm curious.
Number 1. Go down to the bottom here. Let's see.
Better move. You better dance.
what are you singing?
Let's see. Number 1. Endless Love with Deanna Ross and Lionel Richie.
Yeah, no, that's it. That is
81.
it. That's what I'm saying.
Oh my God, that's hilarious. Yeah.
So is that going to be the song that has to be sung?
Well, he's asking for it, so maybe. I mean, what do you guys think?
I mean,
he
pretty
did
much
email. He did email in our Twitter and whatever. I'm not cool with the kids these days. He did.
I knew it.
He did tweet a tweeter.
Oh my god.
Yeah, for those of you playing at home who haven't seen Jeremy's video, there's a cat involved.
Yep.
Oh yeah, there is a cat involved. That's my special guest. His name is Nolan. He's the greatest
Nolan cat.
Yeah, Nolan.
He looks terrified. I think if the RSPCA is listening,
absolutely-
please send help.
He is 100% terrified.
He's like, this music. Yeah, no, he just escaped where I'm up to. So did you hit Legend this month, Bradford? Did you win the game?
I have not. I'm at rank 2 right now. Tonight I'm planning on hitting.
Ooh.
So, yep.
What is it, the 27th?
So despite me wanting, it's 25th.
Man,
you know,
I'm in the future. The 27th.
You're from Australia, of course.
What are you ranked? What are you at?
I am ranked 24.
Why?
you're close.
Got him.
No. I'm thinking I'm ranked 7. I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
One of my mates got to Legend a lot, and I lost all enthusiasm because I was going to try and beat him, but no, he's just too good for me.
Yeah. I was going to say, if you're at rank 24, you do realize that Secret Pally is a thing, and you just play it. And
it's also like more or less impossible for me to get to rank 24 in a month because you don't lose stars.
Pretty much.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you'd have to lose a lot.
You can't. You
can't.
don't go backwards. You can't.
Oh, you
get
can't
to- you get
after
level
20.
20.
That's right. You could just not play for 2 months and get to 24.
Yeah, I think that's what happened on my EU account. Anyway, what topics? What's next on the agenda?
What do you got? I think that was pretty much it. I mean,
Yeah, we were wrapping up, man.
I'm trying to think though.
Mushu's like, let's start a new show. We're ready to go.
Right now, here.
Game on.
Nah, I don't want to throw it too out of whack. Otherwise, people will be like, "What the fuck? Who's this clown walking in at the last minute?"
He doesn't value our time.
Exactly. That's
Yeah, I think that's pretty much all we had to discuss this week, right?
Yeah. I mean, what else you got?
going.
Oh, I have something for you, Mushu. I did the Happy Hearthstone podcast on Monday, and we did like someone wrote in to the show, and he was from Australia, and so Mike or sorry, not Mike, Josh was like, "Hey, you should do it in an Australian accent," and I am terrible at Australian accents. It was so miserable. And I re-listened to it, and it sounds terrible, and I feel like I offended you because of it. So I'm going to apologize now.
Good.
That's not a knife. This is a knife.
Oh, it's a knife.
That's pretty good. Like that's all you have to envision is that the knife thing, yeah. Or maybe like when you say mate, just like mate, elongate the A, and that's pretty good.
Mate.
Like, mate. Exactly. That,
All right.
As soon as you mate, fuck me, and shit like
So
that.
now I know for the next time.
As long as you say mate, fuck me, and
Mate, fuck man.
yeah, nah, is another. That's one of my favorite Australian.
Bloomin' onion. You gotta say bloomin' onion.
Blooming onion.
What do you want for lunch? Vegemite. Right?
I did try to make a Vegemite comment, but Josh was like, "Is that offensive?" I was like, "I don't know, whatever."
I feel like if you feel like you've offended Australia, just spoon some Vegemite into your mouth and see how it goes. That's the real challenge. It's not that bad. It's not nearly as bad. Didn't they ban? I was told they banned it in the US because for pregnant ladies, like it has an effect on
Wait,
women
really?
carrying babies. Yeah.
Oh, I did
Oh.
not know that.
Well, yeah, because I only can ever find Maramite at stores, so it's like a kind of like an alternative, I guess. It may not be based off the same thing.
It's not as toxic because I think Vegemite's
guess.
made from like rotten tomatoes or something. It's some
Oh.
sort of like this.
Weird.
In Australia you become tough by eating Vegemite. Like this is a rite of passage. So there are a lot of children who die each year from eating Vegemite, but the few of us that make up the Australian population. We're tough motherfuckers,
You guys are freaking
And we-
weird.
and we love our Vegemite. Love it.
The ones who don't die from Vegemite are drop bears.
Yeah,
That's so
exactly.
on. Dude, you're a
That fun-
boss.
Fun fact, like that's why we eat Vegemite, because what happens is drop bears are actually, allergic. Well, not allergic. It's lethal. Vegemite is lethal for drop bears. So if you get eaten by a drop bear after you've eaten Vegemite during the day, it'll kill the drop bear, and so
God.
at least you took the drop bear with you, assuming you
It's
had
like
your
your
daily
it's like your
Vegemite.
final fight for victory.
Oh my god.
Exactly.
It's like when
It's
a bee stings you or something.
Stop.
so
What
yeah.
is going on?
Make sure you eat your Vegemite.
Absolutely.
That's all I got.
What does Australia have for Thanksgiving? Do you guys have a Thanksgiving?
We have Sorry Day.
Sorry Day.
Yeah.
Is
Well,
that
that's
on
more or less.
Thanksgiving?
That sounds like
That's
a Canadian
more-
holiday.
That's more or less what like Thanksgiving is. Hi,
Wait,
here
so
we
is
killed you.
today-
We took your land and killed you. Here.
Oh, I
we-
see.
That was betrayed.
I see.
No,
I see the pun there. Well played.
our
Is
like-
today
we- we-
is this the morning the 26th for you, or is it the 25th?
The day is the 26th. It is 11:04 a.m. Thursday, the 26th of November,
So
2015.
you're on what will be American Thanksgiving currently.
Yeah, the closest thing I think we have to Thanksgiving is recently, a couple of years ago, the Australian government apologized to the Aboriginal citizens of the country for the stolen generation, where the like 30 or so years ago, the government came in and took like a bunch of Aboriginal children away from their parents and put them into like, I guess like white families and things like that to raise them. And so yeah, that's what we're saying sorry for. So that was the Australian Sorry Day, and I think that I don't know, or Invasion Day. We don't have a Thanksgiving, but I don't know. I feel like isn't Thanksgiving a lie, Mike?
I think Columbus Day is a lie, but Thanksgiving is close.
I'm pretty sure isn't Canadian Thanksgiving like a good, like
I
a pretty
don't know.
accurate description? Like,
That
didn't
was
they
like a
trade their
month
land
ago.
fairly?
I don't.
Canadian
I don't know
Thanksgiving was like a month and a half ago.
What is?
I don't
What's the difference?
Nothing.
They gave their land fairly or something. I don't know.
They're nice. They're nice people.
Yeah,
they
that's
didn't
what I
kill
mean.
a bunch of Native Americans.
That's
They
what I was.
didn't bring turkey and smallpox, I guess.
Yeah. That's what I was told. Is you guys killed a bunch of people and called it Thanksgiving. That's
Right.
Pretty much.
I don't know.
That's- yeah.
Correct. Please re-educate me if I'm
We're
wrong.
like-
but that's
No,
sort
no,
of
that-
that's
Two
what,
thirds of your population is dead. Happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah, that's very. No, we celebrate like Columbus Day. Dude was a freaking butcher, and he wasn't the first person to discover this country. But we
Right.
still celebrate that holiday. Why do we still celebrate that holiday?
Yeah.
I don't understand. I don't know. I'm probably on the FBI wanted list for saying that now. It's probably un-American. I don't know.
well, that's the
So
one.
I didn't
That's
say
like
anything.
I think that's.
Got him.
I feel like we be doing a podcast. We have a certain amount of freedom in that we're not like. I don't think we're not bound by any sort of code of conduct, are we?
Well, also no one listens. So
Well, I feel like you're calling out people who download this podcast each week. Nobody. Apologize to them.
I'm
He's-
sorry. I'm sorry to. Is this going to be one of those fuckboys things where I just like Mike's going to put really kind like piano music behind me, and I'm going to be like,
Yeah.
look, you guys aren't nobody. You're everybody.
You're everybody.
You're all that matters to us. You're who we love. If it was between you and my mother, I would pick you. You know, that kind of thing. Is that what's going to happen?
That was beautiful.
All right.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Made me cry.
absolutely.
Yeah. What were we talking about? Thanksgiving.
Vegemite.
Vegemite.
And Thanksgiving.
Everyone says a different thing. Vegemite, Thanksgiving, our viewers, just nobody knows anymore.
Our viewers, yeah, all the viewers out there. I don't know. I feel like I'm rambling. We're rambling. Maybe we should wrap it up.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, I do have to go, but you guys are awesome.
Well,
Now that we have the visual version of our podcast,
yes.
Going.
So we had some technical difficulties. It's still live, but the video feed isn't working correctly.
Yes.
I didn't stop it. I figured, what the heck, we'll just leave it. It's a test run. So we'll have that ironed out. Hopefully next week it'll be all set. Obviously, the audio format's still fine. It'll be there. It's always been there.
Yeah, so if any of you guys want to join us, if you don't want to send an email because it's too hard, you can jump in and we'll try and pay attention to the chat.
Right.
Right?
Oh,
Got
man. Let's see. And in chat, we're saying Canadians gave the natives donuts. So is that Canadian? Is that Canada?
That must be the Canadian Thanksgiving, I guess.
Donuts. Is it Dunkin' Donuts? Because like here in the South, we've got Krispy Kreme, and I can't.
Yeah, Krispy Kreme.
Oh, do you like Krispy Kreme?
No, I like Dunkin' better.
Oh, there
My
we
wife-
go. Yes.
My wife loves. Well, actually, there's this place like 2 miles from my house called Shipley's Donuts, and it's like Dunkin', where it's the cakey donuts, but it's even more cakey.
Oh my.
And so it's basically just cake with icing wrapped around it, shaped into the form of a donut, and it's way better.
Did you get a coffee and pour a bunch of sugar and cream in it?
Yeah, absolutely. It's
Perfect.
so delicious.
All
Because
right.
yeah, Krispy Kreme is good, but it's just so like there's not enough in it. It feels
You can squish it.
yeah,
Dunkin'
exactly.
Donut, you can't really. I mean, you could squish it, but it's solid. They're heavy.
Right. Yeah, exactly. It's you feel like you've eaten something, whereas Krispy Kreme is just this crispy outside shell.
Kreme.
2012. You
What?
seen that?
What?
No,
What is that?
Ah.
It must.
that's
There's-
an Australian thing.
No. There's like some YouTube rapper who used to be called Krispy Kreme,
What?
but they sued him or something, or had they issued him with a cease and desist order of using that name, so he had to change his name. I don't know what he's called now, but yeah,
He's probably
Hang on,
called
I'll find-
Duncan.
yeah. No, he changed it. Fuck, I'll find it. Give me a sec. I mean, we'll put it.
Oh
yeah,
my God.
it was my favorite thing back in 2012.
Mushu, where have you been for like the last? I don't know. 2 hours.
2-3 hours.
2
Yeah.
I was spending time with my imaginary girlfriend Keely.
Oh, it's
Okay.
such a waste. Even if it was real,
Yeah.
it'd be a waste.
Yeah, confirmed.
Got
Got him.
him. Oh man. Well, I think we'll end it here. This has been we pulled like a 2.5 hour podcast here.
Yeah, absolutely. Fun stuff.
We're getting close to those 3 hour ones again. Not quite, but close.
Yeah, we'll get there. We'll have Avery on next week. and
Yeah.
We'll do 9
So
hours.
hopefully we'll have Avery on. Not dead in a ditch.
Can't confirm. Yeah, no, I was
Can't
talking to him
confirm.
last time.
Yeah.
And it is video now, so he can be shirtless.
Yes.
Yep.
So Avery, that is the rule. You have to come on shirtless.
If
Yep.
we don't see a nipple, then you're not allowed back
Actually, Twitch has a problem with that. I don't know if we can do this. All right, here's
Nice.
what we're doing.
We'll
Shirtless.
digitally impose a shirt.
Yeah, the little black bars over
No,
the
no,
nipples.
no.
Yeah.
What he needs to do is go out and buy one of those shirts that like has a naked man on it, like the top half. Like,
Yeah.
so he's wearing a shirt with nipples on it, basically. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Or you
yeah,
can
yeah.
just wear one of those mesh shirts.
Yeah, dude. That's
Yeah, see through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here, just
Nah,
A white
I-
T-shirt that's
Put
wet.
some
There's
elec-
all kinds of options.
put electrical tape over your nipples and call it a day. We're done.
In Texas.
I like it. That's what we'll do. Well, let's all just rock to that next week.
All right. Booby tassels for everybody on the show. All right. So,
You should. Can I
Um,
borrow your mom's? Because my wife doesn't have it.
I don't know, dude. I don't know if it's gonna get to your part of the world. If you're willing to shell out for express shipping,
Shipping and
then
handling will be as bad,
We,
right?
we might better set something up. But
Kitty tassels are expensive. I think shipping may be cheaper.
what's the country of origin for those?
Of kitty
it-
tassels?
Yeah, is it Australia?
No, it's Canada.
Yeah. Okay. Oh my god.
Did we just
All right.
establish that all titty tassels come from Canada?
Hey man, you can give the population what they want.
Oh
Yeah.
my god. All right. So that's episode 43 of the Death Rattle Crew. Don't forget you can follow us on your favorite podcast catcher of choice, or just again watch us on Twitch now. Follow us at www.deathrattlecrew or search Twitter Death Rattle Crew. Write into us at mail at, you guessed it, deathrattlecrew.com.
Bullshit. That link doesn't work.
It totally works. Confirmed. DRC confirmed. Oh, this is a fun one. All right, so for the rest of the Death Rattle Crew, I am Tac2, joined by Mushu, Bradford Lee, and the legend formerly known as Jeremy, and we will see you next week.
Peace.
Peace. Australia.
Canada.
the 300 or so